crying. It's unfair. And we going nowhere. Nowhere. All the big people. Nowhere. All the roadside hustlers. Nowhere. Tiffy, young Rico. The big C divide us. Tiffy, young Rico. The big C. It's all in the game. It's all in the game. Here, there, and everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere. The people keep on crying. The people just keep on crying. It's unfair. And we going nowhere. All the big people. All the roadside hustlers. Tiffy, young Rico. The big C divide us. Tiffy, young Rico. The big C. It's all in the game. It's all in the game. Here, there, and everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere. The people keep on crying. The people just keep on crying. It's unfair. And we going nowhere. All the big people. All the roadside hustlers. Tiffy, young Rico. The big C divide us. Tiffy, young Rico. The big C. It's all in the game. It's all in.
In Liberia, November 1944, a public-spirited person was born.
Joseph Numa Wakai from Wasanga, Foya District, Lofa County.
He is a role model. He's actually my inspiration.
He's also a perfect example of humility. He's a very humble person.
Through that papi, the help he start giving all from this swamp here. I know that when he get there, he will help me. He will help the nation.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know y'all sleeping now. Y'all gotta whip us some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not come. I said we tired with their lies, we tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with their speech they preach in D and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that's why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know y'all sleeping now. Y'all gotta whip us some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. so. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not know. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you screw us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us.
Welcome to Keg Media, the horizon of creativity. We are a team of creative storytellers that are driven by the desire to help you bring your dreams to life. Our services include production seller, video production, equipment rental, photo shoot studio services, podcast studio rental, post-production, design and branding, digital marketing, television commercials, event coverage, and live streaming. We understand that every project is an opportunity to make a difference, inspire, move, and change the world. Whether you're a small business or a large corporation, we work closely with you to create a personalized experience that will help you to reach your goals. Our state-of-the-art equipment and cutting-edge technology guarantee that your project is produced to the highest standards. We also understand the importance of creating a strong brand and reaching your target audience. That's why we offer a wide range of digital marketing services, including social media management, search engine optimization, and online advertising. At Keg Media, we are dedicated to helping you achieve your vision and make an impact. Contact us today, and let's make it happen together.
It's all in the game. It's all in the game. Hear the
Hello. Welcome, guys. Chupo, Daniel, Pia, how are you guys? Pastor Mo.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, we here.
Doing great, man. It's been a wonderful time. It's good to see you all back. How was the weekend?
Well,
Let the pastor tell us about him. When he's good with the man of God, he's good with everybody.
well, I had to go. My family must have to go to the funeral, and I also lost my father-in-law in Maryland, Roger S. Brown. He used to play a long time for Invisible 11. He
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he worked with
Condolences.
the GSA, and we had to
In
talk.
Maryland, USA?
Yeah, he's died in Maryland, USA. Right now, my wife is there. They went to remove the body from the hospital to the funeral home. But we have to do what we have to do.
I know our heartfelt condolences
Thank you.
for you and your family. It's been a great weekend.
Sympathy.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend. We're glad to be back. Lots of new developments over the weekend. It's good that we're here. Chupo, how is Bond County? Chupo there or he frozen?
Paul frozen again from the very beginning.
Wow, man, you gotta check your connection so that we have a great show. And let me say to our audience, kindly share the show. As we've often said here, we need 1,000 shares before we. That's the minimum benchmark we've set here on this show. So kindly share the show. But we're glad to be back here on a fresh edition of the program, The Class Reloaded. I am your host, Stephen Johnson. My name. How are you guys? Other than Pastor Mo, what's popping? Any new development across other than the national politics? See, Pia is always happy the future and his team Barcelona on a winning streak. So
the weekend for me was not good. I think Arsenal was robbed, and now the Premier League has apologized formally to Arsenal for the human error that cost us our 3 points over the weekend. So we now face
how good your weekend is depends on football business. You got plenty of other people, your family, your children.
The man talking about how Barcelona win again, you get vessel.
You hear me talking there?
But I mean, that was a good one.
The host asked us, how was your weekend? We don't do much politics here.
Not happy about.
Yeah. That was a good icebreaker. I know. They
can play the game.
Critics.
They will not play the game over. So all we can say to Daniel, sorry, next time we're not cheating.
But it's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. Let me say welcome to Lama. Lama, thanks for joining us again. We're glad to be back. Let's say let's recognize our radio stations. We have Bushra Radio FM 98.1 in Montserrado, Premium FM 98.1 in Banga, Bond County, Radio Dupa FM 89.1 in Grand Bassa County, Voice of Lofa FM 99.3 in Vonjaman, Radio Joy Africa FM 97.5 in Makipi, Voice of Compa 106 FM 106.5 all the way there in Nimba County. Let me say a big welcome to all of our supporters, our folks in class. I see Famata, I see Geraldine, Warlaw, Rose, John Green, I see Praise, Winnie Situa, Phoebe Warite, Bloje Ngasa, I see Bole Ngasa, I'm sorry, Patricia Verdia, V Jamude, Lee Cooper, Tabis Bashu. If you're in class, just say present, and we'll try as much as possible to recognize Sam Zor, Alice Daniel, Richard Cully, Randy Flomo, Fokmakado, Stanley, Louis Johnson, Papi, I see Papi Cully, Geraldine, Sammy Denoa, Duma, Sammy Duma, I'm sorry, Bele Bengba, James Harris, Ibrahim Dwe, Amara Sise, Cully, Samuel Weah, Mahawa Son, Vuyu Moluba, Emmanuel Cully, J. Moses Sembe, Samuel Kamara, Joseph Alvey, Kali Sekwe, James Gaga, Ngama Dempster, Terence Toba, Eugene Solomon, Franklin Ware, Eugene Harris, Papi Cully, Bocha Pa, Phoebe Cully, Kona Gotter, Bradley Brown, Enoch Jones, James Marshall, Moses Wallow, Wayeta Fambule, Paul Bali, Ma Alaba's son Alvin Johnson, Musu Woods, Emmanuel Ganiyi, Mebe, Yatsu Johansson, Patience, Sema, Prince Settle, Wasi Wimon, Samuel Sarabasa, Joseph Kroko, Stanley, Moses Kwekwe, Mohammed Sharif, Lawrence Cisco, Sammy, Sarah Tule, Kenneth Commander, Sarah Willie Jackson, Louis Yasia, Susan Boakai, Yatsu, Aidan Harris, Claros Mala, Soning Suwogo, Arthur Smith, Tapet Tobe, Mayama Kazulu, Alice Kruma, Komi Donzo, Augustine Freeman, James Kamala, Rose Jones, Rose Poyine, Omen Zizu, Dauda Kesulu, Steve Noah, Alexander Babiye, Amos Moore, Washington, Doris Kona, and everybody, Clara, and all of you out there watching. Kindly share the show so that we can have a wonderful, wonderful God Give Jackson, November King, and all of you guys watching us today. Kindly share the show, Andrew Conley, and everybody, so that we can have a wonderful, 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 wonderful conversation. So as we started, we'd like to say our deepest condolences, deepest and heartfelt condolences to Pastor Mo on the passing of his father-in-law. We'd like to pray for his family and wish that God will console them in this hour, this period of bereavement. Today it's a very interesting day. We'll focus the conversation on what's trending, and then we will delve into recent statement by the Defense Minister, Daniel Zanga, at yesterday's Armed Forces Day, in which he said that nobody should cross the democratic red line, more or less so speaking to the opposition. Because when you look at who has the capacity to cross the red line, who has the power to disrupt the peace or the stability of the country, is the government. And if the government gives us a free, fair, and transparent election, there wouldn't be no need for these reckless and irresponsible comments coming from people in positions that should know better. First, it was the police director talking about fighting for defending the country with his blood. Against who is the question? Against who do you defend the country? Your own citizens who have no capacity whatsoever to cause havoc? That you will defend the blood to the country with your blood? Then the chief of staff, Prince Johnson, made some statements that had serious national security implications. He was forced to apologize, and now we see that same thing coming from the defense minister. The pattern here is one that presents an argument that the government intends to corroborate what Prince Johnson said many years ago, that 2023 will end in chaos, the people will go amok, there will be violence, and so we see the government preparing the stage to intimidate people so that just in case the elections are rigged, people can be afraid to stand up against the government. But this is wrong, and we'll also talk about Prince Johnson, the church. Many persons, I see that many persons did not even watch the conversation. Were making some comment that Prince Johnson did not attack. I'm not sure they expected. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they expected him to go ballistic. I don't think he would have done that as a pastor. But he spoke. He spoke very, 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 very passionately. He spoke clearly. If you watch the video, he spoke about the danger about this government, and I think he has drawn a side. He has taken a side. He has at one point he even talked about Sir Ali. He also talked about the people of Nima County and how this government has failed. And so we'll look at that. But before we begin that, as usual, we start our conversation here with what's trending. We'll begin 3 minutes each. Pay attention to the time, please. I will not be saying 30 seconds. I will just pay attention to your 3 minutes, and you just go in line with the time.
Paul, are we on air today? I don't want to ask to the end again. I hear different thing. Are we on air?
Yes, the program is on air.
Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very much, sir.
So, Paul, we'll start with you, Larama, Pastor Mo, Daniel, and then Pia.
Thank you so much for having me on the show this wonderful evening. So, fronting from my end tonight, an educator of Bonk, Mr. Philip Leopoldo Morba, is actually calling on the Bonk County Legislative Caucus to actually complete the Bonk County Technical College here in Banga. According to him, lots of funding has been, allotted for the completion of that particular building. But up to present time, officials, that's elected officials in its county, have actually squandered that money and diverted the funds to their personal use. And according to him, the college is actually providing some good sons and daughters in Bonk who are actually contributing positively to society. He made mention about people being selected the companies there in that's in Lofa County that is currently on the pavement of this Lofa board that is yet to be completed. He said people from Bonk County Technical College are actually working there, and of course he said they are actually positively contributing to society. And lastly, from our end tonight, electoral district number 2 representative swings in political ball water as group of defeated candidates in the 2021 by-election in district number 2 are actually coming together to actually form a conglomeration, and that will have a single candidate that will actually go against the equivalent representative. Because according to them, Honorable James Mempakole has not done much to alleviate citizens of electoral district number 2, even though he has been elected in less than 4 years' time. He has not been able to live up to his campaign promises to alleviate citizens in electoral district number 2. So out of the candidates, 8 candidates out of 11, 8 candidates actually signed to the memorandum, except for the CDC candidate in district number 2, who refused to sign. And according to them, they said Honorable Melvin Savage attended all of the meetings, all of the get-togethers, and were actually there. And they said in the presence of all the traditional leaders, and they said future punishment awaits him. And this is one person who actually has lost, political weight in district number 2, because according to the citizens, since 2021, after finishing second to, Representative James Cole, he has not been able to even go back to his people to actually appreciate them or to actually tell them what exactly he intends to do, even though he loses the election. But it will interest you to know that Honorable Edward Emmanuel Bo, been supported by Bonk County Senator Honorable Prince Kiamomo Sunia, actually came out as the candidate to represent the conglomeration of defeated candidates in district number 2. And I was able to chat with him this evening. And of course, he actually said laws are actually on the way to alleviate citizens of electoral district number 2 if given the district highest seat comes 2023. That's October 10. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. I want to say hi to my fellow panelists and also to our many listeners across Liberia and the diaspora. I want to say what's up. We're back here again, committed to this cause. It's something that we've given our time to ensure that we move our country in a fundamentally new direction. Stephen, Sunday of yesterday, the president took the mic once more. As expected, he decided to drift away from the usual wars of wars between him and Prince Johnson, and directed his talk to the candidates, to our candidate, Joseph Yuma Boaka and the Unity Party. He gave a speech that I don't mind him. For me personally, it wasn't a surprise. You know, the president has been seriously less busy. He's the most less busy head of state across the entire continent. This is a man elected to serve the Liberian people. He works part-time on a full-time job, as opposed to the popular expectation of the Liberian people. So on Sundays, usually, when he's not making music in his Jamaica studio, he's somewhere dancing buga or talking some rubbish. But here's the thing. We are going to see more of these kind of empty talk from the presidency. We are in election year. We are going to see more of the president coming out to attack a major opposition candidate because he has no record to run on for re-election. This is a man who always tried to validate the fact that he's from Gibraltar, from the slum community. He always tried to audition that he's a slum dweller. But just 6 months after he was elected, he did not take project to Gibraltar. Why the president would not build a modern house in Gibraltar and go and live with the slum dwellers? Rather, he tried to make rehab in Miami. Why is the president abandoning the people that he says he's so passionate about? When Maya Musu in Clarendon goes to the market and purchases a bag of rice, she pays taxes on that. Or when someone who purchases a gallon of gasoline to put the generator on to ensure that they have some level of entertainment, they contribute to the rural fund. What have we heard about the rural fund today? George Weah has looted from the very masses, from the very slum dwellers that he claimed to represent. And this is why we have to all galvanize effort and mobilize to ensure that we cannot continue with a Weah presidency a day after January 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're on time. Pastor Mo?
Yeah, I want to say good evening to all of our viewers. I also want to thank God for our lives. And we're here another week to our many listeners.
Pastor Mo, you always sounding low. What happening?
Yeah, the way he lays back, he goes away from the phone.
Okay, can you all hear me now?
And your voice already not too loud, so when he goes away from the phone, it takes it away.
Can you all hear me now? Thank you. I want to say good evening to our many listeners in Radio Land and our many viewers by way of Facebook. There was a lot of issues, but since we're going to discuss Prince Johnson and Daniel Zian, I'm not going to use that as my trending. But this morning on the Costa show, I listened to a breaking news. And that's something I think we all need to pay attention to. I wish someone all had the chance to call Mr. Costa for him to explain. He broke a news today that, and the news came from the House of Mouth, that ANC leader tried to talk to Honorable Boaka not to run and endorse him. And I found out like, I don't know what to say, because I don't know what they want. Money cannot make you president. Money cannot make you president. What can make you president if the people decide to carry you? And also, he played a recording when Babaka spoke about the kind of vice president that he would want to serve with him. And those are things that I think we all need to look at and pay attention to. And furthermore, I listened to George Weah, the president, at a rally with majority of them were women. And he had a lot to say. But I said to the Liberians, I know you're not going to vote for George Weah. I know you're not going to do it. When you voted for him, he didn't give you money. But now he's giving you money to vote for him. And I said to you, any money they gave you, any t-shirt they gave you, any lapels they gave you, receive it. Don't vote for them. Because it's going to be dangerous if you try to get in second term. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Mo. Daniel.
Yes, Stephen. It's good to be here again, and as always, it's a pleasure to interact with everybody. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to our followers via the internet and across the 4 other counties where the show has been relayed. Initially, I would have placed emphasis on my training issue to be the issue of Prince Johnson sermon yesterday, but since it is a talking point, I would just like to throw light on what is happening at the National Elections Commission. You know, we're all talking the politics, getting ready for 2023. As far as 2018, we can talk about 2023. 2023 is not yet. And we are expected to go to the polls on October 10th in this year, 2023. But one thing that we're forgetting very easily is the manner and form in which the Elections Commission is proceeding. If you now follow the work of the commission closely, you get to realize that the commission is very unprepared. Very unprepared. Honor takes this surmountable tax that is placed on it. The commission is very unprepared in that the first step to conducting a very successful election is to have a nationwide voter registration exercise. That is intended to update the national voter roll. The Election Commission has failed to live up to its own deadline. The first deadline that was announced to the public, they had to stretch it out, and they announced another one starting in March. Even with the deadline that has been announced in March, it is still being speculated that the NEC does not have time to enable millions of Liberians to register because the time will be very limited. So we just want to throw light on it because all the thing we're doing here are voting for Bwaka, are voting for Cummings, we shouldn't vote for Weah. One thing would justify the end of everything. It is the ability of the Election Commission to conduct free, fair, and credible elections. And from the local things in Liberia, we can say when the Christmas will be good, you know from the eve. From the local things, I can simply say that the Election Commission has been overstretched. It does not have the capacity to conduct this election. And based upon that, I see a constitutional crisis. Because if you have a situation wherein millions of Liberians given the opportunity to register to vote as required by law, the political party will not say supine it to allow the NEC to proceed. That process will be challenged. Okay? Even though I trust the credibility of the judiciary, but it's the first result that we have at our disposal. If the NEC cannot give many Liberians the opportunity to register to vote, it's going to be a problem. Because one of the questions that Associate Justice James Edward Wolokori asked us in 2017, when we had gone to the court to question the validity of the voter roll that was used by the NEC, you know what she said? She said all of the issues you lay out against the voter roll are true. But why I waited for the wrong to be committed before I come to us? So right there, and then I knew that the couple not going to ruin our favor. So this is just meant to put, I mean, we were involved with strategic planning and projecting various presidential candidates in this election. We have to know that the space on what it can be. The essence of the democratic transition that we're all yearning for in 2024, but let the not come pass. Yes, I'll throw light on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very, very important point. Pierre.
All right, so this is not part of my time, but I just want to say something quickly to Daniel. So you throw light. The next time you can, you throw light. Another time you can, you throw light. The question is then what? We're not helping ourselves. So for example, if the Election Commission has given a time frame to do voter registration that is short, what stops all the political parties from making the case that will push the neck and the actors to give a reasonable time?
Exactly.
And all we do is the
political leader of the Liberty Party has plenary Liberian Senate to invite the members of the Board of Commissioners of the NEC to answer to their preparedness, because it's a problem that we see.
Right. So Daniel, it's not meant for you to respond, but the thing is, you're just saying that your statement from the beginning to the end was that you just wanted to throw light on it. I'm frustrated by that. If the only thing we get from the opposition is always throwing light, and they're doing what they want to do anyway, it is possible for the NEC to give a reasonable time for voter registration. But the way to do that is not only by throwing light, the parties got to stand up. You got to stand up. Like, for example, you say your political leader is in parliament. Call the people there. Complain to the international partner. Do everything so there will be no election if you don't do this thing straight. Those are actions, man. Not throwing light. Anyway, let me leave it. They have been called. They were here. Okay, that's my issue for today.
No, Pierre.
Yeah, I just get a little bit irritated. I will complain all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think it's important.
And then when elections are held, we get trouble, they will sit and we'll cry.
Yeah, because imagine the Election Commission is saying that they will use 19 days to register.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Everybody's sitting and looking at it.
How can you register the whole county in 19 days? Monserrato county in 19 days. So if you move weekend from there, because I know they will not work on Sundays. If you move it from there, you're talking about maybe 16 days, 15, 16 days to register over 2 million people who want to vote. And that's it. Next, you know by now that if you the entire voter registration period should happen simultaneously across the country. If you say registration start March 15 to May 11, everywhere will register at the same time. You don't can't say you move from wherever you go, Grand Gila, you register people for 10 days, then you pack your pair, you go Sano, you register people for 10 days. What nonsense? People need to tell the people that nonsense will not accept the fact that you're leaving registration for 19 days, 10 days, 5 days.
I got a real problem with the fact that we just talk, we don't act. And the people we deal with gangsteristic as they are talking will not move them, only action. So let's start moving dangerously. Anyway, look, Stephen, one of the guys who follow this show very religiously, and I don't know whether the guy ever missed a show yet, but Matthias Bernard. I think Matthias' middle name is Comblois. I'm told that either today or tomorrow is his 8th wedding anniversary. And for somebody who commits themselves to following us like that, I thought it was important to give him this recognition and say on behalf of the class, happy anniversary. To be married for 8 years and that's more than you. One thing, you can see the people laughing every day, everything okay, and fire. So another thing we will talk about another time, but I just want to just flag it. How come a player who just joined Neymar, they won the county league, they took them to Freetown, they did all the enjoyment together, and bam, he's gone down in Neymar County in the name of going to ANRO. I have been struggling with that information. I have not processed it. That's why I have not talked about it, but just passing it so all of you can be thinking about that. The guy was part of the team. They just won the county league. Killed in Ganta, they say he ANRO. I don't know how. But let me just handle only one issue in my training issue, and that is a response to Mr. Weah, don't mind them. And Larma talk about it, and I think somebody else talk about it. Don't mind them. But I want to respond to Weah this way. I want to say, don't mind him. And that him is referring to we are. Don't mind him. He's the only president in the country history who came to power. He said he inherited a broke country, but built 47 condominium, 47 BB horses. There are people who can understand the BB English. Condominium means BB, that BB horses. In 6 months, only 6 months, he built 47. Don't mind him. He is the only president in the history of a country who came to power. The same year he came to power, they stole 16 billion, they say he lost. Don't mind him. He is the only president whose government officials were sanctioned by America for stealing and putting rebels together to kill people. Don't mind him. Don't mind him. He's the only president whose government killed his own auditors, people who helping the government to find people who doing bad things. He's the only person in the history of the country who killed his own auditor. Don't mind him. That man they call Opon, don't mind him. He's the only person in the whole world that is a president that can leave his country for 52 days and take 2.5 million of the country money and chop it free. Don't mind him. Don't mind that president there. He's the only president who can come outside. He can't talk to outside in Bobo. When you go in that place, you call check, but I call it a shrine, then you open exactly point more, you costing everybody. He's the only president who's doing that one. Don't mind him. This guy is the only president on this earth who came to power 6 years coming and he get one investor. One. And then he's stealing all the old government projects. When you look at the road that anyone doing, it's all of my project. You go down the road, all of my project. He's the only man who's doing it. Don't mind him. He's the only president who spent 3 hours and something minutes to talk Tabata. Joe Biden, who get a bigger country, spent 1 hour, 13 minutes to talk everything I got to do with it, be America. Don't mind him. That man you call Opon, don't mind him. He's the only president under the government. They chop 30 million on mobile SSI, 25 million on mobile SSI, 30 million on COVID relief. Partner, they put them helping in different countries, the money they get in the central bank. You take it out, they chop it, they put out also and tell them the money you stole for our account, you put it back. He's the only president who did it. Don't mind him. He's the only president who teleport country development money, social development money, the government put all together, they chop it. The Prince Johnson crying for, Bazapo crying, Bon crying. Don't mind him. There's plenty I can say, but TV said 3 minutes, I want to take all your time.
No, talk.
Okay, let me look at my thing good and deal with it. The boy who get caught in trouble. This is the only president. Don't mind him. Who the only thing you know how to do is to be DJ and go in the studio to make song. No president in the world can do that. Only they on serious joker. Then you tell yourself, you want to mind them. You want to mind you. You know what he's doing. Don't mind him. This guy is the only president in this country who got no respect for God. His childhood at playground. The only thing he's doing, the thing he call author, he dancing car and causing mancos. Don't mind him. Don't mind this guy. He's the only president since we've been around. Honor him. EPS, they put him protecting him. I see it happening on any president. Only honor they can carry put a name out of the shoe going ahead and they say the man shoe is here 3 times. Don't mind him. This is the only guy, don't mind him. His own party chairman, more wide. He said someone try to go around the world, you bring money, they come out this, they roll president. He take it, he say, my man, I've been looking for my money. That same one man open more wide. He say for the bank, you know, woman George and go lay down with them. Don't mind him. He's a funny man. You're kicking out. Just how you say, when I mind them, I just wanted to remind you of a few reasons why when I mind him. That part 1. When we come here, when I'll tell you part 2, why when I mind him. Nonsense.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you. I think that was a cool one. Let me announce that Ente Miata is traveling today, so she or she traveled today to Nigeria, so she wouldn't be joining us today. She asked that we inform you all that she wouldn't be joining the class today because she had to travel. But then she left out with something good. And then Miada made a beautiful song for the voter registration that is coming up in March. And I'll play that song. And then Miada made a very beautiful song for the voter registration. Let me see if I can pull that song in queue and play it for us. Let me grab that song. There you go.
If you happy with the way things are, then go and register to vote. If you're not happy with the way things are, then you got to register to vote. If you happy with the way things are, then go and register to vote. If you're not happy with the way things are, you better register to vote. Go and register to vote. Go and register to vote. 'Cause that's your power. Your power. Go and register to vote. I said, go and register to vote. 'Cause that's your power. Your power is in your hand. Don't just sit there wasting time. You got to register to vote. Your vote is your future. You don't wanna be a loser. Don't just sit there wasting time. You got to register to vote. Your vote is your future. You don't wanna be a loser. Go and register to vote. Go and register to.
What? We'll play that song more along the program, but that's a very beautiful song by Andy Miata. I'll play it more through the program. I'd like to say big thanks to Andy Miata for doing such a wonderful song for the class. Let's move. MP, I know you.
And guys, please share the show, guys. Please share the show. I'm not sure you're going halfway with a 1K mission. We need 1K sharing. Please share the show. Let me publicly acknowledge both there. Some people say she rescued two, and not for me to say we're waiting for JMB. I got it alive when she shared the show. I hope JMB sir can start sharing the show. Mr. Yuri, BB political actor. Exactly. You guys have a huge audience when you share the show. It builds the audience. So I was glad when I saw Bozida sharing the show. So please share the show. Onyomli Kanga Lawrence.
Oh, okay. I got another photo too.
I like that, yeah.
But I mean, that's a very beautiful song by Eddie Miata. But let's go to one of our friends. And I want Pierre to go on this first since he will soon be running to come back in a few minutes. There has been this pattern here of late. And we've seen it replay times without number. First, the police director comes out and says that they will defend this country with their blood and sweat. The question I often ask is against who? When the police director made that statement, the next thing we saw is the discovery of arms and ammunition. Up to now, we don't know the head nor the tail of that investigation. Then that was followed by before the discovery, the chief of staff made a statement that when he came to the U.S., some people spoke to him and told him that he should go and overthrow the government. He made that comment and even threatened opposition. It came on a serious criticism. Then there was a discovery of arms. The government said that they discovered arms, over 450 military-style rifle capable of unleashing serious havoc in the country. Up to now, we don't know the details about that story. We still hear that the investigation ongoing. No arrest has been made. The two ladies that were arrested were released. Then we hear the Minister of Defense yesterday talking about, on Saturday, talking about people should not cross the democratic red lines. Now, my question to you, Pia, is who has the capability of plunging the country into chaos? Is it the opposition who are rallying their base to go and vote? Or is it the government who would, when the people vote against them, who want to cling onto power, will be the one with its capability to cause chaos?
Okay.
Daniel, please mute your phone.
Yeah.
Daniel, man, you're disturbing the show. What's wrong with you, Daniel?
The coverage in the house is bad. Try to put it right outside.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Just
But
mute a little bit.
You're mute. That's why you're looking good right now.
Yeah, you look better now. Pia. So as I was saying, the defense minister now, Daniel Zanga, comes and says people should not cross them. Who are these people issuing these threats against? Now, and that's why the question to you is, who has the capability and the potential to cause chaos in 2023? Will it be the people who, when they vote, they expect the legitimate vote to count, or the government who will try to rig an election that goes against them?
Before I answer that question directly, let me just remind the very government, our people, of a few things. I have been wondering where these security people have been with all the killings going on in the country. 2 sons, and this is anything that could cause insurrection. 2 sons of 2 former presidents. A son of President William R. Talbot, a son of President William V.S. Tubman, were killed in cold blood. Up till now, we don't know who killed them. No alarm by the security sector. Oh yes, these are the national security issues we'll be concerned about when people just being killed all over the place. They're keen to audit us. No alarm from the security sector. We don't know their killers up to now. Many other innocent people, Princess Cooper, this person, that person, all of them. You see ones who opening their wild mouth talking nonsense now, said nothing, we didn't even know whether they exist. But here is the first thing I have realized. You know, the conduct of people who serve in government depends on the leader of the government. That's why the people always say the fish can get rotten from the hair. And it's true. Patrick Sulu was in the police, Ellington. The men who said they would defend the country with their blood and sweat. He never saw all the people he worked with, including the Harvard-trained Gregory Coleman, being that stupid as he is. Daniel Zanga was the chief of staff of the armed forces under Ellen. They dared not talk somebody rubbish to talking because there was a leader who was in charge and who would not tolerate madness. Prince Johnson was deputy chief of staff. All these people were like angels. Everybody could knock their chest and call the AFL a force for good, a force for good. Everybody praising the police. But you see, the goalposts change. It's no longer a question of Ellen's stature. Like the Sioux boys will say, sitting over them now as their boss in the mansion is the common Buka Denzel. Rabba, as he calls himself. Fucking Club, Bekugbe, all the stupid names he calls himself. And so what they're all doing is they are attempting to serve Wia rather than serve the country. Ellington, it was needful to serve the country because the leader was not taking that nonsense from them to pretend that he's serving her. Now, look at the personnel also. Chris Massaquoi, been around for rank of ages, a veteran. All the qualifications, no matter how you think about him. Amla, a professional guy. Gregory Como, Harvard trained. The other men who on top of the police, only two things qualify him. A partisan of the CDC and a Southeasterner. Those are the two requirements that qualify him to be police director. Nothing more, nothing less. So, because he knows that, his loyalty is to WIA and the CDC. That is the reason why he can say we defend people with blood and sweat. He's not talking about the country. He's concerned about what affects WIA, what affects the CDC and the CDC government. So all these folks are filled up. Daniel Younger. Now you understand why when we build a new army, there was a long period of having a foreigner preside over the army before Liberians themselves could be ready to take charge. Because even after that long time, with Younger serving the army, retiring just to take a political appointed job, you would think he knows better. But look at what he's doing. In America, where you myself at, there was an insurrection here. Some people choose not to call it that way, but that's why it was. With the U.S. Capitol being overrun. You heard any statement from the Defense Department? You heard the Defense Secretary say anything threatening the civilians who are acting, whether we call them domestic terrorists or insurrectionists, as some people are calling them? You heard the Defense Secretary say anything? The arrangement is civilian. They were therefore approached and dealt with as civilians. Daniel Younger then came to this America, that where he got part of his training. They leave when they go back to Africa, they have the same stupid way everybody else out there. And they all run in ways that tend to just be happy about protecting WIA. Do we have information about external threat that somebody from other country want to invade a country?
Of course not.
Why are these statements necessary in the first place? Well, they're making this statement because some of us are on the record to say, when we are reached the election, we're chasing up. Many of our persons are saying same. So the likes of Xianga then now, all the crazy people think now that they can come and issue threats. Like you said correctly, the only group of people who got the opportunity, who got the chance to plunge the country into chaos is the government of Liberia. They could do it in many ways. Firstly, they have started something that we should be looking. Some of their own people brought guns in the country. Some actors among them did not know the secret about what was happening, so they blew alarm. And by the time they discovered that, oh, but the thing, and that different people did that, so us, they can't tell anybody anything about that gun interview anymore. But did you see people in party t-shirt wearing a party t-shirt, holding machine guns and working with the president, wearing party cap? That's what we saw. So they are the only people who are capable to plunge the country into chaos because one, they are the sitting government, they got the power, they got the guns, they got the money, they got everything. Two, they are the ones who, by all indications, showing signs that they want to rig the coming elections. And everywhere around the world, particularly in Africa, one of the bases for insurrection is when you rig election. And Liberia has a history for that. We fought war because Samuel Doe rigged the elections. The best thing anybody can do when the people elect you is to do the right thing. When they vote you out, you leave out. And if the likes of Xianga, Patrice Suru, Prince Johnson, and all the guys think that those crazy and stupid threats they are issuing day in, day out can make people to say they will fold their hand when the elections are rigged, they better think twice. Because then they're swinging in the pendulum of stupidity and nonsense. Your advice, we have to make sure the election is free and fair. Daniel Xianga, be a nice guy. Besides serving in government, I was a personal friend to you. I visited you at your house all of the time. You're a good and professional guy. But you're not allowing partisan mess to flow all over you. You're not taking up partisan posture because George, we have made you minister. No record of serving any high position in government besides joining the army as a recruit. You'll go to school, you'll come back, they took you to be maybe the guy on top of them, maybe chief of staff, from the straight minister. I understand you have a biological relationship with him. Maybe that propelled a desire to put you there. But the way for you to pay him back is not what you're trying to do. Younger, you got to understand that there are times you serve and there are times you out. And a period of accountability will come for all the nonsense you're doing. No war, nobody declare war on the country. The army got no damn place to come and say anything somewhere. You got to sit down to where you're supposed to sit down. When the country is going to attack externally, then you bring yourself and talk why you're supposed to talk, because that's when we look up to you. Everything that is happening is a democratic interaction taking place among civil and democratic forces. It got no place for the AFU or so. From whence cometh your red line statement? And then they're always talking about the senator, you know, I don't believe in our senators are toothless bulldogs, spineless, useless people. But of course, Younger, let him tell you what he meant. Senator Kanga is listening. They may be listening. All serious matter senator will be listening. Don't call this man. Because we don't believe we have come to a place again where our army, that is now the national army that people call Force for Good, will be called We Are Army, or We Are Soldier, that they used to call it AF or Do Soldier. We want our police to be called We Are Army. I mean, we are police or CDC police, like they used to call the police Do Police. These are signs of getting back to those same places. You're arrested now. We can talk about it. We don't have the power. You don't got the power. You're arrested now. Your host Younger and accountable. What they stood right in your team of course, they don't all argue all of you. He left from that way, hamstringing and bluffing and going back home. You should have slept in jail for a week. You're allowing to walk away. Why do you think you will not do it again? Why do you think Younger will not get on talk trash? Why do you think Prince Johnson will not get on talk nonsense? Because they do so with impunity. You're all scared of them or what? So my closing on this. It took a lot of investment to bring the country to where it is and preserve the peace. If you're blood tested or whatever is happening to you, we take God to beg you to behave yourself and not take the country back to war. Just stop doing this thing that can provoke people into all kinds of things. Just stop it. Government, that job you're saying in a borrowed coat, as people call it. You wear it today, another person will wear it tomorrow. Don't be overexcited about it and start misbehaving. And putting the country's security and everything at risk. Because maybe you think you defend minister and you get gone, so you think nobody else. Taylor made a same mistake. He fought war, so he believed on top of everything. He was wrong. And that's why he's in The Hague today. Proud to be in The Hague, he was chased away from that very country. So Nigeria, that's history. You pay attention to history and start acting stupid. You pay attention to history and protect our country. That place is not your pa and ma farm. You gotta be conducting yourself anyhow, anyway. Just stop it. Just stop what you're doing. I'll stop there for now, Stevie. Let me go.
Thank you, Pierre. Let me come to you, Larama. The only political party in Liberia noted for violence is the CDC. And we've seen that not only with the CDC as an opposition, but as a ruling party. Just the other day, we saw how students of the University of Liberia were manhandled. You witnessed Jefferson Koji at the University of Liberia. In fact, it was a brutal scene. University students were brutalized. You saw violence in district with Cornelio Kuratupa. You saw the same case of violence with Tilia Ure. You've seen this pattern of violence. Now, one would think that those in authority, like the police, like the defense minister, so to speak, will speak against these things, will ensure that actions, the appropriate actions, are taken against people who are violating the rights of others. We've never seen them issue any condemnation about these acts of violence. But yet and still they have the testicular fortitude to only speak when they notice that opposition political leaders or opposition figures are making comments about warning the government that any attempt to compromise the legitimate interest of the Liberian people at the ballot will be met with stiff resistance. You see that trend. What can we learn from these events? What caution can we take as opposition figures ahead of October?
Well, it's clear that the CDC, by design, has in the DNA violence. But as opposition, I think we have to be very, very on the alert, because all of these warning that we are seeing is not coming by surprise. It is by design. And by design, the CDC is clear that they are going to win this process by hope or by force. Prince Johnson was on record for saying long before we enter the active electoral cycle that there are plans by the Weah administration to rig this election. And we are beginning to see it unfold. Every time a government that's supposed to have a transformative process through which the people themselves decide by choice who to elect as the next code of officers, the next set of leaders of the country. We have that once every 6 years, Stephen. And the only time we have that is to ensure that we guard this jealously, so that one Weah who has failed the people cannot perpetuate himself through the democratic means. Because whether Weah like it or not, he is a dictator. He has gone down in history as a dictatorial leader. He's going to have election. But they are planning to rig the election in a way that it guard the process. There are a couple of different strategies they are used. When we first started hearing the issue of violence after the June 7 protests, it came from the institution itself, the CDC. The deputy police director was whipped, massively whipped, disgraced, and dragged right before the compounds of the ruling party by members of the ruling party. The police did not come out to say anything. Patrick Sulu did not defend the cause with his blood and sweat, as he claimed recently in the before the Senate. Then we moved to a strategy where they started to use state institutions to undermine the democracy, right? We saw how Cabinet Jana was removed on orders of Weah. They moved to the next strategy of institutionalizing partisanship across all of the line ministries and agencies. Today, we have major functionaries of government that are labeled partisan institutions. The police is a partisan institution. Across the ministries, civil servants barely can say anything indecent to the inhumane treatment that they are receiving, either by fear of their life or they choose to remain a silent majority waiting on election day to express their anger. This is the process that Weah and his people want to thwart. A conscious attempt to commit egregious election rigging. And this election rigging starts before election. Let's go back to the NEC. They start a process that they have no capacity to handle. They want to move from manual to biometrics. They lack the capacity. Times in and out we've seen. From trying to, for Teveda Brown trying to infuse a Chinese company against the will of majority of the commissioners. The postponement of election timelines and dates. This is how election rigging starts. The opposition needs to stand strong, stand up. In fact, we now need to have a consolidated process where we can unify around core issues that matters to the Liberian people. This election is very important to every Liberian that cannot afford a cup of rice, that cannot even afford school fees, that go days without eating. So we have to unite around a singular agenda, even if you're not around a ticket, there are issues that concern the ANC, just as there are issues that concern the Unity Party and the Liberty Party. These are genuine issues where we can unite and form a common front and engage the system that is trying to work away and take what is rightfully the Liberian people's choice. Or else we shall move into an era of having an elusive election where we only think that it's supposed to be free, fair, and transparent on paper, but in actuality, we lost the process to reckon.
Thank you. And let me come to you, Daniel, before going to Pastor Mo. And I will take you from what Larimer said. Elections aren't rigged on elections day. There are events leading up to elections that the process can be rigged from, and so election will just be the final nail on the coffin. And so we are seeing a pattern here. We're seeing the government is preparing for a possible event where the citizens don't agree with the election's result. We're seeing that pattern. We're seeing that the government is adequately preparing for an event where the citizens will not accept the results. And so how are they preparing? One, the police director has said that they will fight for this country with their blood and sweat. Two, you hear the chief of staff make similar reckless comments. Three, you've seen the importation of weapons and ammunition into the country. Four, you now hear the defense minister talk about people should not cross democratic red line. When there are no red lines in democracy. So long and by the constitution of the country, people have the right to assemble, to peacefully assemble and petition their government. It is a democratic right. So which line? Now, the third thing you're beginning to see, or we've seen over time, is a compromised National Elections Commission. One, they don't have the capacity, both human resource and financial capacity to conduct this election. Two, the commission is compromised in terms of its integrity. You have an elections commissioner chair that is indicted by the very LACC of this same government. So you're seeing the cascading effect of how the elections is rolling over before our very eyes. We've seen it. We see it play. My question to you is, what is it that the opposition needs to see happen first before they can take action? What is it? We're waiting for October 10 or October 11 morning, and then we'll say, oh, the people cheated off? Or do we begin to blow the alarm by marching to neck, by mobilizing our people, by writing those concerns with our bullet politics, by reminding NEC, by reminding state actors about the danger of tampering with the October election? What have you to say on this?
Thank you, Stephen. I'm of the opinion that all of the key actors in the opposition are very much aware of the mindset of the Weah government. And this has come from a descending order. The first person who has taken onto himself to threaten the democratic credential of our country, the first person who has taken onto himself to threaten civil liberties of Liberian citizens who share diverse political opinion is the president. So I'm sure that the opposition figures but now ought to be aware of the kind of government they're dealing with. It is not a government that believes in civility. It is not a government that believes in the adherence to the rule of law. All of the action that Mr. Weah has taken is either meant to bastardize the judiciary, to bastardize the civil service, to flaunt the laws of the country in the name of being president. You see how he went overboard by appointing officials of government where his authority didn't reach. The issue of tenure, all the ministries and agencies of government that had tenure have been deteniorized. All these things are happening because the CDC government does not believe in adherence to the rule of law. So I'm sure that key opposition figures that are opting to remove the Weah government democratically by this time should know the kind of people they're dealing with. in Liberia, we can say how his soul deserves a drastic treatment. So I do not believe, to your question, I do not believe that we should sit supinely, put our hands between our legs, and wait for the greater harm to be done to the Democrats of the country before we come out to speak. I do believe that given the wake of well corroborated utterances by these security actors, the trend in politics, what you look for is trend. What is the trend of event in the country? You see the police director, who's supposed to be the leader of a civil paramilitary organization, right, is saying to you that he's going to defend the country with blood and sweat. Against who? Against who? The first duty and the last duty of the police force is to save and protect lives and property, to protect the weak against deception, the innocent against harm. So when you see the police director coming out to say, "Hello, we defend the country against with our sweat and blood," against who? Liberia is not a war. The war days have since come to an end. We now have a civil authority in place. Why would we have this kind of statement coming from the military? It is absolutely unwarranted. The only way the military should intervene with the running of the state is when the civil authority have failed. We still have a democratic elected government in place. Why would the chief of staff come and say, people call him and say he should overthrow the government? I think he should have gone beyond that utterance to even name some of the people who are calling on him to overthrow the government. That's treasonous, right? On Liberian law. So he didn't go beyond that. He just said, "Oh, you will call me to overthrow the government." He made that statement. He went away with it. It come back to the director of police. You see some of the things that have happened. All of the violent action are being initiated by Jefferson Koji from District and Matecting, where Cardinal Crowd talked about even Senator Lawrence and Senator Dillon were held hostage. It was the Bassa speaking people in our community that came to the rescue that day. I was driving the car Cardinal Tupa was on top of. I know what went through to escape. Okay? Patrick School is still investigating. District number 15. The video evidence were very clear. It was published on the internet. People saw how Tita Ure almost got killed by men believed to be under the mandate of the CDC. The police were there. They didn't do anything to protect the lives of that innocent girl. She almost got killed. Her supporters were brutalized. It was District 15 was not on one situation. It was about 3 incidents of violence occurring in District 15 during that election. Why can the police tell you is the outcome of the investigation today? Nothing. They cannot say anything to you. Why can the police tell us when Senator Lauren filed a formal complaint against Jefferson Koji? What is the outcome of the investigation? Nothing. In 2019, when Dallas didn't won the election, Jefferson Koji led men, right, in CDC regalia at the headquarters of the Liberty Party and brutalized supporters of the opposition. What became of the investigation? The deputy police director for operations, Melvin Sakor, beaten by Jefferson Koji in the CDC headquarters. What became of the investigation? So if there's any political party that has shown to be very, very violent and very rebellious to law and order, it should be the CDC. So yes, the Ministry of Defense will come up with defense to say that, oh, the statement was generic. It didn't exclude any political party. I will agree. But what has been the ministry position on previous incidents of violence? Can the ministry tell us how far the government has gone with the investigation of the discovery of arms and ammunition in the port? Can they say that to us? So I think our international partners are watching. And with the trend of event in the country, I can safely predict that Mr. Weah is not prepared to turn over power democratically. He's not prepared. Because when you hear some of the nonsense that people saying you want to win one round victory, and when you see the way the neck is proceeding, okay, the security apparatus are making threatening comments to the Democrats of the country. The election commission has all been impartially presiding over a democratic election, is very laissez-faire and unprepared to do the work of conducting transparent election across the country. They cannot even do a biometric voter registration exercise that will include every Liberian. Then it tells that the country is heading for danger. And this goes to our international partners. Don't wait to call us for meeting to ECOWAS office and say, oh, you know, you got in the interest of the peace, you got to accept the result, or you got to abandon the other action, because that's what they would do. They're going to wait for the 11 hour when things go out of control and the call stakeholder and say, oh, we understand what you say is true, but for the sake of the peace of the country, you cannot do that, you cannot do that. We are not going to accept any result. Any such arrangement is not going to include the opposition that we support, because by this time, they should be intervening. Some of the unwarranted utterances from these security leaders or security apparatus, are scary. The international partners that have invested their money in building Liberia democracy, in supporting Liberia's election, they need to intervene, because when hell breaks loose here, we are not going to be cornered into fear and submission. We're not going to do that. If the NEC cannot conduct an election as required by law, we're not going to accept the result. But we're not going to wait. To your question, we're not going to wait until the damage is done before we come up. By this time, people who want to be president of the country, who want to replace we are, need to be signing the caveat. Because when it comes from us on the platform, they say, oh, these are people who support individual candidates, this and that. But even Ambassador Braga himself need to speak out to the issue, because his voice will come with weight. His voice will come with weight. And to a point made by Pia, I think why it's true that some of the legislators from the opposition have been very don't caring about the security situation and the manner in which the NEC is proceeding. I think a couple of our supporters or our lawmakers on Capitol Hill have been doing their best. The incident that led to the wasting of tea on Sir Joseph resulted from a letter written by Senator Lawrence to say the security apparatus will appear to answer to the insecurity situation in the country. Then Sir Joseph decided to exercise a partisan posture that got her annoyed, and she splashed a tea on him. Why you witnessed day before yesterday when Pacha Sulu appeared and began to put on that kind of pompous attitude again, was as a result of a letter written by her. That's the best they can do at this point, because the plenary of the Senate is their own place where they can flex the muscle. So if they see something going wrong and they invite you to a hearing to answer a question, what we should understand legislative politics about numbers. How often do other senators from the opposition even stand up to support this kind of quest? They don't do so.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
I think the one or two persons are there making effort for us. We should be able to appreciate them, because if we continue, come and put it in the same blanket, there's a tendency that they will get tired and say they're not being appreciated, because supporters of these senators are also listening to the show. And
Daniel, you gotta have this conversation with a sincere and open mind. Nobody criticized any senator for saying they're not doing well. Those kind of
senators were not doing well. Senators were not doing well. I agree with you.
Listen. We're not having chatting match yet. You're giving the impression that even the senators who are doing well are not appreciated, and that is not the case. That is not the case. Don't give wrong signal. Yes, I know you don't narrate to your boss. That's what we're talking about. That concluding statement you were making is totally off-changing, because nobody.
I just saw the underscore anything you said.
Nobody is attempting not to appreciate it. We know the Senate.
I think Pia was looking at the Senate.
Yeah, so don't do that. Nobody. I'm not trying to even. Daniel, let me argue. Besides your politics,
go ahead.
Besides your politics thing, nobody is a sister. Nobody has stood the test of time, and I support her. That's the reason why, irrespective of my directly personal relationship with Besanga Finlay, I stood with her in the going election. So I bet that's that. The point we're making is just beyond the Senate. So yes, nobody is a senator, they can do their Senate thing there. He's also the leader of an opposition political party. So the actions we're talking about, the political actions we're talking about, which I'm throwing to everybody in the opposition, it's not just tied to the Senate. That's one. We just believe that we all should work together. And while it is true that they've done their best, nobody should tarry at this time. We got to push it, because, as Stephen said, it's a pattern year. It's a pattern year. And I get so disappointed in Daniel Zianka. And I'm angry at him, because I asked myself a few questions. What is the democratic credential of Daniel Zianga that he's not able to determine democratic red lines? Can he come up here so we can discuss?
Yeah, we call red lines.
Yeah, can he come up here so we can have a conversation openly on what constitutes democratic red line for him? That's question number one. Question number two, you sat there as a freaking Minister of National Defense. Non-state actors, former rebels, who should be here accountable for atrocities they committed in the country, are being given guns and aiding the national security apparatus. You know them, the power, the Sabato Wea, the Saint Sion, Ofori Dia, all the people there. That was the point the democratic red line was being crossed. Why are you using ex-rebels to play cardinal part in the security architecture of the country? Oh, Mr. Zianga, you don't see that, right? You don't see that? All MPF rebels and Natana Magie put them together and called them Ponke Pan Brigade. Where were you, Daniel Zianga, when that was happening? You don't think the democratic red line will cross there and then? Like Daniel said, Tidia Ure was almost murdered. Colina was almost murdered. Where were you, Daniel Zianga? They were in a simple political activity which is normal on our democratic dispensation. And Koji and his thugs went to attack them. Where were you? CDC was openly training militias on the beach. It was no secret. Front page Africa and all the media institutions carry. Where were you, Daniel Zianga? You didn't see that one? Where were you? Now, Prince Johnson said the other day, throughout the history of Liberia, the Monrovia City Police, MCC Police, has never carried arms before. Today, they all carry long-range automatic weapons. That's crossing the democratic red line. You didn't see that, Daniel Zianga? Oh, your team was stupid here, right? All the SSS are going on. You close your freaking eyes to them. And just go for blue sky and you doing generic statement. Those were specific. They undermine the security of the state. What did you say about them? Oh, you think it's normal? That's something that never happened before because there wasn't going to happen where MCC police are armed. And then I got a director crazy. One time he went to some garage and black everybody else. And I think some big guy was involved.
Yeah. Well, the guy from the MCC went there and black people cars.
I see, man, that he called himself the head of that security.
Say the police.
Yeah, say the police. So when you are talking about the chief of staff, Sonia, you say why you
conclude. Yeah, let Daniel conclude.
Let me just make a point I get back to him.
You're
talking better, we'll let you talk. You are wondering why Prince Johnson made that statement. Let me tell you in my view why Prince Johnson made a statement he made that people told him to overturn up to that nobody can ask him to give it. Prince Johnson was making a foundational statement so that tomorrow, when they decide to target people, Prince Johnson can say, you, Daniel Sano, was one of the people who told him to overthrow the government, even though you never had any conversation with him. It was a foundational statement to create a condition to lie on politicians tomorrow to say, people that talk to me to overthrow the government, Joseph Waga was one of them. Ezra Collins was one. Bernard Yuri was one. It was just a foundational statement he was giving. And watch and see. As hell breaks loose, and they know the all the way of power, because Stephen said, I know who said that, it was you or Sano. These guys, they're stealing and looting and the SSS they have carried off. They're not prepared to leave power easily.
No, they're not prepared.
That's the reason why we can't show any weakness anywhere yet. They're not prepared to leave power easily. So a part of the game is to use a chief of staff tomorrow to say, the person who told me to overthrow, they include this person, the foundation was laid by that statement. Thank you.
Daniel, land so that we can go to Pastor Mo. You muted, Daniel.
From a broader perspective, the intermittent hint of some of the military intervention into the civil affairs of the country is worrisome. I do not anticipate that with all of the investment within the military that the international partners in our country have spent on building the armed forces of Liberia. I do not think that the armed forces should be interfering into civil matters. What is at stake is a democratic competition. When the rule of law cannot guarantee this competition, then the military can come in. We appreciate the military intervention, but now at the point where the civil authority is still in charge. So yes, I agree. These are worrying signals, well corroborated, from the police director, the army chief of staff, now to the bossman himself. It's a problem that we have to look at. I mean, given the occasion at which this statement was made, I don't think it was not well thought out. It was a statement that was well thought out to be given, because the minister spoke from a prepared text to be given to the country. But given the reaction this statement has received, I think it's about time that they begin to realize that yesterday's lesson has taught Liberians that military intervention in the democratic affairs of the country is not good. The way forward for this country is for us to adhere to the rule of law. As for the CDC-led government, it is not a matter of choice for them. It cannot be a matter of choice. When the Liberian people in a majority decide that Mr. George Weah, regardless of all the weapons that they have brought into the country, regardless of the paramilitary forces that they're building to deter civilian population, when the Liberian people decide in a majority and say the CDC government will hit the SA door in 2024, there's nothing that George Weah can do about it. There's no amount of guns in the barrack. There's no amount of gun at LMP headquarters. There's no amount of gun at the executive mansion that can keep Weah in office one day after his tenure expires. So it has to be clear that yesterday's soldiers, yesterday's first soldiers, are today intellectuals. But all soldiers never die. We do not need to go back to the barrack to remove George Weah if he decides to clinch the power. When Mr. Doe decided that he would rig the 1985 election to clinch the power, he didn't live to tell the story. So we don't have to remind George Weah. If he decided to be knowingly ignorant to the Liberian history, you don't be doing that to me. Because when Prince Joseph captured Doe and was torturing Doe, some of the ministers were telling him, we can fight, we can make it. They are already crossed the Atlantic, they were in America enjoying themselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. There for you alone. So if you decide to be knowingly ignorant to the history of this country, if you don't realize that we were the same people who rip out each other intestine and make roadblocks, and you come here, you think you can use the military, you can use the police to intimidate us, you'll be joking. One day, if the Liberian people decide that George Weah will be exiting the scene, the presidency in 2024, he will not spend one day in the executive mansion.
Thank you.
We are prepared to give him whatever he so desire to leave. We're not going to compromise the word of people. The only thing we encourage we opposition to do is to follow the technical aspect of the election. Make sure.
Right, let me hold you there.
Come in, Stevie. Make sure that the ballot boxes are protected. That we have all our title sheets in our possession to prove that we actually won the election. Anything beyond that, George Weah is prepared to rig the election, and we are not going to allow him to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me come to you, Pastor Mo, and you've been with the security forces, yourself before. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the history of leaders in Liberia where they thought they were so powerful simply because they had around them a few military personnel. We watch it on the Doe, for example. We saw that Samuel Doe felt so powerful when he had his kingsmen in the military, in the security apparatus of the country, and felt that he was untouchable, that he would never leave power. You know, or after the rigging of the 1985 elections and the country started going haywire, they thought that by positioning his kingsmen in strategic military position would have protected him. And we all watched how when the citizens themselves decided to open their arms for the rebel movement, the rebel MPFM moved, one of the faster moving rebels in the 90s, in between December of 1989 to September of 1990, Samuel Doe was killed. So in the period of less than a year, Doe was killed, MPFA had captured over 70% of the country, 70-80% of the country. We've seen that. Now, Charles Taylor came to power, and everybody thought that Taylor was this powerful despot. Taylor will stay in power for Vision 2024, and nobody thought that they could imagine a day when Taylor. Now, we saw how when the citizens decided that it was time for Taylor to leave, they took the streets. They took the streets. Now, these are presidents who we are is not anything close to them. So when you look back at history and see how history has interplay over time, then you think that those in authority now should wonder. But let me come to my question. When you watch the police director make a comment where he says that they will defend the country with their sweat and blood, is this within the scope of the police? Is there a comment that a police chief should make?
Well, the police director have already taken side. The police director have a side. And if you see or hear a police director speak the way he spoke, it tells you that all of the citizens of Liberia, that including opposition, look for your own security. I work in the Liberia National Police Force for 23 years. The 23 years that I work in the police force, I think I served for 3 elections. Yes, I think I served for 3 elections. And those 3 elections, the only time I heard a threat, when Chancellor, who still had the guns in the bush, told the election commission that it would take the angel of God to save you. And the only reason why he made that remark, because he still had the guns. Something you said, or something Daniel said, Samuel Doe had a kingsman to protect him. Isn't that the same with George Weah? Look at the people that in the authority, in the military, in the police, at the NSA, at the SSS. Are they all now a kingsman? They are a kingsman. And their plan and purpose is to protect him. They don't care whether he wins the election. They have a plan. But let me tell you this. You know, people say, Pastor, don't talk politics. Go on the pulpit. No. We're not going on the pulpit because now you're going on the pulpit. So we'll go on the pulpit. We'll preach the word on the pulpit. We'll come on the platform and we'll talk on the platform. When it's time to preach on the pulpit, we'll go on the pulpit. But let me say this. 5 years ago, I spoke this word that George Weah is a one-term president and George Weah will be the cause of Liberia going into bloodshed. And many people told me that I was hateful. I was not hateful, or I was not being hateful. It was what I saw. It was what came to me. And let me say this on this platform. What I see, all the condominium George Weah built, it will be set ablaze. He will lose all. They will never ever get the chance to escape from Liberia. You know why? Because they created the problem. They can threaten us. Look, for the chief of staff to get up and make a remark. I never heard, the last time I heard a chief of staff making such a remark was in wartime. When I listened to Benjamin Yete, who's talking about military vibration, door to door. The last time I heard a military man speak was when General Taylor spoke that they have taken over because Samuel Doe were being captured. The last time I heard a military man spoke was Charles Julu. When Charles Julu went into the executive mansion, he was arrested and he said, just let me play my tape. Just let me play my tape. But listen, they will not have the time to play the tape. You know why? Because the Liberian people will decide. Nobody will push them. They will push themselves. And the reason why they're going to push themselves, it is because they know they never voted for him. They never voted for him. Not even George Weah will get a chance to escape from Liberia. Some of us will be in Liberia. We are not going in Liberia to cause violence. We are going in Liberia to protect our democracy. That's what we are going there for. And if the defense minister can come out and talk about no one will cross the line, he feels to know he has crossed the line. Because this is not an extended aggression. You are speaking to citizens. You are speaking to peaceful citizens. Let us look at the track record. Which political party had introduced violence in Liberia? Was it not CDC? Which political party introduced throwing petrol bomb? Has it not been CDC? Which political party introduced burning opposition home? Have it not been CDC? Which political party threatened to burn a house with people in the house? Have it not been CDC? So which of the party introduced violence? But we can say this, one group of people don't have monopolies over violence. We can be peaceful when we want to be peaceful. We can be violent when you push us to the wall and we can't go back any further. We have to come forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Mo. Thank you. And I think this is a very interesting subject that we have to pay attention to. And when all of you spoke, one of the things we need to do, and PR talk about it, is to begin to push our political leaders to act, is to begin to push our supporters to act. Let us now wait for October 11 morning and then start to craft file. We need to gather now. The first thing is look at the timetable for elections. Look at the timetable that you're giving Montserrado County along with 6 other counties 19 days to register. What is next? Problem? How come people can register from March to May? Everywhere in the Republic of Liberia should be able to register between March to May. That window should be open across the entire country. That nonsense excuse that you don't get money, let me tell you something. Let me tell you this excuse. When the day you take office, you know that in 6 years, you have elections. This is not something that creep up on you to say, oh, you are sleeping one day to work, I thought election and money. Then you say, we get money. So that sheepish excuse by the government, nobody should even accept it. When the interpolitical party, the committee go to NEC and NEC tell you say no money, then people say, okay, yeah, we agree, no money. That's BS. That's BS. This government knew from January 2018 that October 2023 you are going to elections. And so even if you are putting aside $5 million every budget year, you will meet up with your your election expenditure in the 6th year. To come back on 9 months to election and crying that you don't have money, this is a calculated attempt. Now, what they intend to do, and this is the trick, and Daniel, I hope you guys are paying attention. The more people that register to vote, the highly likely the government will be whipped. When more people register to vote, they will beat CDC they'll beat the CDC. The less people that will register, CDC will win. Let me tell you this today. That's the easiest formula for them to win. The majority of the people register and turn out election day, they will win. They will beat the CDC because the opposition, based on statistics, the opposition are in the majority. So you saw the last election, the CDC got 38% of the vote. Agreed, 38% of the vote. About 62% of the population didn't vote for CDC. That's the majority right there. About 62%.
That's 2017 data, right?
Yeah, 2017. About 62% of the country did not vote for them. Now, we've seen that between 2017 to now, the CDC has dipped in form, and so their turnout will drop considerably. So we're looking at it will fall anywhere between 25 to 30% of the vote. Now, if for any reason the registration process, you have limited people registering, the majority of those who will turn out to vote will be citizens to register. Most citizens will turn out to register. Now, one of the constituents that will cause this election to tilt will be the discouraged voters. many of whom don't want to vote. They feel that they have nothing to vote for. Those are the people you want to get to the pool, or else they will win. Now, if the voter registration exercise, the window is so short, there will be a huge rush. It will discourage a lot of people to go, that they will go to these places, they see long queues. They will not say, but
get frustrated.
Yeah, get frustrated. What thing you have to study? Because you only got 15 days to do all the things. To register over 2 million people in Montserrat in 15 days is crazy. It's crazy. Nobody should accept that. To register over 2 million people in 15 days in Montserrat is crazy. So they're creating these bottlenecks to discourage a lot of people from going. And the people that register are the people who vote.
We now have 2 million in Montserrat though, because in the entire country was 2.1 million registered voters. So,
yeah, Montserrat only had 1.1 million last time.
Yeah, so they will not go to 2 million.
Montserrat has 700 plus thousand.
Yeah, 700,000 was okay, but I mean,
Montserrat has 770,000 plus.
But let now
they registered 1.1 million.
Montserrat?
Yeah.
No, I'm not sure.
With nothing happening in a rural area.
I'm not sure. Let's check that figure. I'm not sure.
Montserrat now is the only economic hub. Everybody trooping to the city. The interior, the rural area are empty. Because nothing happening there. Those days, the reason why you see those places were having, you have, for instance, in the southeast, Putuman, you have Putu Iron over there. You have Metal Steel operational all over. You have, what's the people that in Kema?
For me, Stevie, it can be about Montserrat. Like you said, initially, everybody will have the same 2 months to do their registration.
Yeah, let me conclude my thought before I forget. So we must allow, and this is something Daniel, you guys should take on, the voter registration process should continue simultaneously for the entire period across everywhere. Across everywhere. From March 15 to May 11, people must vote, people must register to vote everywhere across the country at the same time. Moving it from one point to another will disenfranchise the majority of our supporters, many of whom will be discouraged. That early rush to register in 15 days will cause many of our people to stay home. And by the time you miss that 15-day window, you no longer can register except you move to another county to register. So this is something we got to pay attention to and be very aware that these are the calculations and the plot by these people to rig these elections. And so we shouldn't just sit there and allow NEC to can't tell you say no money. No, NEC knew about this thing since 2018 that they will go to election 2023. I'll stop there.
But Stephen, technically it's not even 15 days because if you remove Sundays, I'm not quite sure if they're gonna work on Saturdays.
13 days.
Yeah, so it's not 15 days.
What are you talking? An election is supposed to decide the fate of the country. You can't get whole county 13 days to register.
So my problem is NEC released that information almost going to 2 weeks. Besides us talking about a year,
zero.
Why have the political actors who going to participate in the election say?
Zero.
They supposed to start that process in March. We're almost going to March. What have they said? What have they said? Somebody got to answer me. So this is the problem. And the reason why I was telling Stephen that I didn't want you to zero in any Montserrat business here because the real substance is what he brought to the end. What are you in Grand Cru? What are you in Lofa? What are you in Basso? Or are you in Montserrat, which is presumed to have more votes? Take an entire 2 months and every single day beside the days that are not working time, Sunday or Saturday, every single day should be registration day in all the 15 counties until the 2 month ends.
Exactly.
It does not make sense to ration. And I don't know what's wrong with us. The whole piece of our country is hinged on our democracy. So if there's anything you got to spend money on, talk about the money we'll be spending on political projects in election year, only because they fail in those projects. If you got any money to spend right now, even if that's your last money, spend it on the electoral process because the peace, security, and stability of the country is hinged on that process. It is no excuse to say you a ration voter registration because you don't have money. It makes no sense. It does not make any sense. When we are killing America, recently one of the things you are breaking and say America will give money for election. All right. If it means you use
so,
that money,
so Pierre, let me guess. So in 2017, NEG announced we have 777,503 registered voters in Maserati.
yeah, that's what I know. So the money that you're supposed to get, or any other money you get, spend it on the electoral process. We cannot make excuses for the electoral process. We cannot shortchange the electoral process for anything because the country's survival, stability, security, and progress depends on the election. My disappointment now is send NEC here with a final schedule. We are approaching the period where that process will start. All of us who still be making a case for the opposition people, by our inaction, it appears we've accepted it. So if we accept that, why are we accepting that you take 19 days to register people in a locale, like, for example, Monserrato, and whatever the number of days in all the places, when throughout the history of electioneering in the country, you have had a straight period of 2 months of voter registration? Why are you changing that in an election that's going to be considered crucial and very important? Why is that acceptable to our political actors up to now? But now, all the international people, the NEC, everybody should know that you're not going by that schedule. If it means that all the parties in opposition call for a massive rally that will make the election commissioner and NEC themselves diving for safety for them and their family, do so. Let them know that this is unacceptable. Let them address that and make the adjustment now before we even reach that day. Don't allow us to reach the day before you complain. The same thing Daniel said. You go to the court, and the court asks you, but you knew anything, why you didn't do anything about it. That's the same thing they're doing here. Arrest that issue now. If you don't want to do your wedding, you just forget about election, but just give the country the way.
Exactly.
That's all I can say.
And every day we talk this thing, Pierre, the ordinary, look, we bash the political leader, we bash everybody. Liberians too supposed to wake up. All of us supposed to wake up because the issue about 2023 October, this October, is about all of us.
Stephen, the fact that Liberians came together and joined different parties, that's leadership. Somebody got to make them to wake up. And these parties in opposition coming together should make them to wake up.
Exactly.
Look at what other people doing. So they don't know what is really important for them. You take Joseph Boaga picture, you open fake account, and you realize, oh, Joseph Boaga say you're not running again. Those are the things you're supposed to take you to the election and win, right?
Exactly. You don't even worry about what next
you
worry about fake.
What are you doing? You're looking for an old picture of Dylan. I'm a 5-6 years ago. You put it there, you say, oh, that they gonna send the Dylan in pre-wild JHL. So you see, we don't know why we won.
Exactly.
Very people want, because most of those foolish that coming on like Joseph Boaga page being hard, and that's easy doing it. We know who's doing it. So the people doing it believe that is what will make us to go to election and move we are. All these people are pretending they are actually working for we are and only acting to be opposition. How is that important? You go to PR, you learn PR page, you take one picture from there, you open fake account, then you read that Jeremy PR say this.
How does that help the elections?
How's it important when we talk about 19 days to register, in some place 15 days to register? How you not focus on that thing, but you're looking for fake profile? Like I said to somebody yesterday, if you're lying now and stealing people's picture and creating fake profile, it means when we allow you in the governance space, that the same thing you will do there. You'll be lying, you'll be stealing, you'll be faking. So it means you got no solution to the country's problem. It's so dishonest, childish, stupid, and foolish for somebody who want to govern a country. To go to Pastor Mo profile, you take Pastor Mo picture, open fake account in Pastor Mo me, you read I say Pastor Mo said this.
Yeah, you have to be a coward.
You deserve no space in governance. Because that you're so insincere. You represent no value. You are valueless. You can't run a country. Because the same attitude you take to run the country. How come people in opposition spending their energy and time on that kind of nonsense? When all these things that we talk about happening, and not do anything about it? How come? How come?
And when we talk about opposition unity, one would think that on the issue of NEC, the opposition will unite. On the issue of NEC, because the election affects all of us. But it's not people not bothered by it. People not bothered by it. They wouldn't worry about creating profiles. Say Joseph Boakai say he running, he retire, he's supporting the other person. What kind of stupidity you on? The real issue happening there. You watching NEC. You're watching Chief of Staff making these reckless statements, Defense Minister making these reckless comments, Police Director making these reckless comments, the discovery of arms. None of y'all say anything. But y'all not worried that somebody will leave race to endorse somebody. But who's telling you in the first place that if I can lead a race, that you somebody will endorse? You're just doing everything to damage the opposition. And then y'all go on one and be crying and say opposition, but you're not. Opposition won't come together. How the opposition will come together when you are the same one who fighting to divide the opposition?
But Stephen, let me just say this. Something must be fundamentally wrong with anybody who takes a screenshot of a fake account and start to run all around with it on Facebook. Something is fundamentally wrong with you.
Special kind of idiot. That's what I said.
No normal person does that. Let's agree
But
that you have it.
Daniel, the same men who are running with fake Sonny, somebody created fake profile now then he crying say, oh, they pay, now my pay, then my real pay, somebody create fake profile. Now you see the danger about it.
So you see that? So obviously it's just temporary distraction. Some of our friends in opposition don't have anything to offer the country, and they think that they have the crab mentality. If I can move, you can move. We'll all be here together. That's why I tell most of my friends who are around me, we have to significantly ignore some of the distraction and focus on the real issue. Because what they want to stop off of doing is to tell the Liberian people why they should register to vote, why they should vote against WIA, and why they should vote for Joseph Boakai.
That should be our focus.
They want to keep us busy talking. They want to keep us busy here talking unnecessary things. And we shouldn't use our time for that.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense
For Daniel Son to go and create a fake profile of Sekou Carrasco and say Carrasco have endorsed Joseph Boakai.
They all lifted.
To what end? When I know that Carrasco is alive, you can come back and post it and say, oh, but the man used a fake profile and this and that. And besides that, if a man of Joseph Boakai standing decide to make a political decision, you think that
now Facebook post you go do. Tell you how people want to run country, how they can think. How they so silly.
Joseph Boakai won't leave race to retire. Now on Facebook you go ready.
Boakai won't leave a race retire. Now Facebook you go post it.
And when I be press conference in the country, where all brother will come there, he announce it that all Mark Zuckerberg paid you.
So we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go.
Part of why we bring this thing down, Stephen, for me as an ardent, unbending, uncompromising, and unwavering supporter of JMB, I think JMB should be very close to telling the country who is running mate is.
Of course. And
I'm saying that as a passionate supporter of him. It does not serve us well to drag anything like this because no one man can run country. We need to start selling a ticket rather than just selling an individual. Everything we've been doing for the past several months with selling an individual in JMB. At this point, we need to transition to selling a ticket. So I hope he's very close.
More to that, Pierre. More to that.
Since 2017, when he ran and he did not win, I'm sure he made a conscious decision that 2023 he will also run. And if he made that decision for that long, we don't need any procrastination in telling the Liberian people who he's running with. We need to know that, so we begin to sell a ticket. So that the Liberian people will see that they're buying a ticket and not an individual. We don't need a few months to do that. We need a massive time frame to do that. So I just hope that he's closer to that. That's my honest, humble, and sincere plea as we talk about all these issues concerning the election. Let's know our ticket. Mr. Senator, Rescue 1, it is important that we know Rescue 2 in the shortest possible time. That's Daniel, you can go ahead.
In addition to what you said, Pierre, a lot of things going to kick off when JMB names his ticket. Because I believe that just beyond the ticket, we need strategic working group at this time to begin to talk about, to brainstorm on how we can address the technical aspect of the campaign. Some of the technical aspect I cannot discuss, in open radio because it's a strategy, but we need to move beyond this running mate conversation. I believe that a lot of things are not moving yet because we don't have a ticket. We don't have a full ticket. Yes, JMB is the arrowhead, but we need that ticket to be able to set things in motion. I do believe the naming of JMB running mate will be the beginning of the campaign. Voter registration is about to get started. We have limited time. We need to monitor the voter registration process because I have been reliably informed that the CDC intends to inflate the numbers in the Leeward counties. For example, places like Grand Cru, Sino, Grand Gila, where voter turnout will normally be low. Despite the populated area, CDC intends to inflate the numbers. How do we counter that? We need a team of technicians that will deploy their supervisors, their monitors to observe the process and give accurate data to the war room. If you don't do so, you cannot counter-argue any number that NEC is going to announce to the public, right? How do we address that? Talking about reaching out to, if not every town and village, every major capital city, every major town, JMB needs to visit the places in this country. How do we start that? Do we wait for, August, in the middle of the rainy season? We don't just get the campaign started. And I think that, we're not going to push JMB to name his running mate. Like he said repeatedly, nobody's going to push him to do it. We're going to remind him that time is of essence in this game. Because the ring going to start falling very soon this year. Talking about
beginning April. And it already started raining, I'm told.
The more you tour the whole Southeastern region, I was there with Councilor Bromsky. I know why it takes, right? You're gonna get stuck in the mud for days.
Man,
right?
I visited all the 73 political subdivisions in Liberia. I visited everywhere in Liberia that borders a country. So I visited both legal and illegal crossing points.
It's a very exhaustive and tiring endeavor to tour Liberia. The country is highly inaccessible by road, very highly. So you need to cover a vast portion of the country that is inaccessible during the rainy season, during the dry season. Reach out to the people that even during the campaign, if you don't go there, they say, oh, but the man came here already. We saw the man. The Liberian people believe who goes to them first during campaign is the person they want to vote for. Most of them, right? Who go to them for, they say, oh, but the other man didn't come here, the other man came here. So you need to reach as many persons as you can, if possible. I believe that is a significant part of the campaign, the county tour. Every major town, every city in this country. If possible, you're going to spend days in the counties campaigning. You can't do that during the rainy season because the country is highly inaccessible. If you have a running mate right now, you have a ticket decided. If you have a strategic working group, you have your campaign team in place. You can begin to organize visitation to the various counties, and you do it. So we're not hoping that it happens in the soonest time for the best of the campaign.
Even if you're going to take up some time to name your running mate, one of the first things you want to do is to begin to set up your campaign structure. Yes. You got to set up your campaign structure. Start giving people responsibilities and roles. So the parties now, all of the and then also putting in place the framework, because you have the Liberty Party with Yombly, you have Benena US, LLP, you have the Unity Party. Each of these parties will want to feed candidates in districts. They need to start having conversation where they can make compromises
around that.
In district. They need to start having conversation where they can make compromises in district. We say, okay, say we have 73 districts. Liberty Party, where is your strength? Will allow you in areas of your strength, will allow you to feed your candidate. Liberty ALP, what is your strength? You competitive advantage. You feed candidates in area.
It goes beyond the ticket. It goes beyond the ticket.
All of these low-hanging technical fruits, we need to begin to start getting them, because you don't want to wait until the point we announce running mate before you start working these technical details. So we need to start working all these technical details on political parties, all of us that are in the collaboration, what holds us together? Do we have a reasonable framework that all of us can sign? Let's begin to set up structure. Daniel Sano, people like Clark Tumbe, Mo Ali, Amos Twe, all these people, start getting them to work, start getting them involved into strategic committees where they can start having strategic meetings and meeting communities and start planning. So these are things we must begin to put, and I hope the United Party, the United Party is listening. I hope the ALP is listening. I also hope the Liberty Party is listening. These are things we can begin to start now ahead of the elections. So while we wait for the running mate, it doesn't stop us from appointing a strategic team or setting up strategic committees that can begin to work effectively.
Let's go to the next talking point.
So yeah, let's move to this Prince Johnson issue. Prince Johnson was in church yesterday, and many persons had thought that Prince Johnson will go to church to speak, to pretty much attack Weah directly. I mean, calling names and throwing tantrums and throwing maybe insults. That did not happen. We listened to Prince Johnson, and I went back to listen to the sermon, even though I missed it, and I saw snippets of it, and I saw people writing their own summary. But I went back to listen, and when I listened, I thought Prince Johnson did a very good job, except that he did not call Weah name, but he made a case. He made a sufficient argument as to why this government is inept, as to why the people of Nima will vote against this government. And I thought that, yeah, we may have our own issue with Prince Johnson based on his history, but I do believe that the relationship between him and the CDC is, the honeymoon is over. You know, they say politics make strange bedfellow, but at the same time, political marriages don't normally last all through the rainy season. So on the eve of the rainy season, we're beginning to see that this marriage is at a collapse. You know, and Daniel, I'm sure you follow Prince Johnson, you follow all of those events. You what is your take on it?
Well, they for some reason, yes, on Sunday, yesterday, the viewership of OKFM, further up, several media entities were deployed at Prince Johnson Church to cover the regular worship service yesterday.
He have more press than
yeah. So for us who follow current event, we subscribe to most of the pages, follow them. So as I was on the internet, I saw the alarm popping up. OKFM is live, Spoon TV live, Cable TV live, Front Page Africa live. So I said, but what's happening?
That was a repeat of the State of the Nation.
So everybody going to preach in the Prince Johnson Church. So yes, I took interest in it, and I followed the service from start to end. And I think, but before I go to what happened at the service yesterday, one thing many persons have not realized since Prince Johnson's embarked on his outburst against the government is the consistency of the issues that he raised against the government. The consistency. He said the Weah government lied to the people of Nima, and the County and Social Development Fund in 7.5 million has not been given. Nimadians have not been given jobs. Weah did not keep his promise, and he cannot support Weah for the second time. He's been very consistent on the issue. Now, people say that yesterday's service, Prince Johnson disappointed those of us who expected him to further lambast Weah government. And there's a problem in this country. I think people got listening problem. And people listening, they don't comprehend. It's a major problem. And I saw many persons who are in the practice of journalists posting, oh, Prince Johnson disappointed them. When you follow the summary yesterday that was preached by Senator Johnson, he digressed at some point and began to respond to the allegation made by the government against him. For example, Prince Johnson said people call him killer, and those people who call him killer are the ones who mastermind the death of the former Vice President Doki and his family, the Brandon alive. We're referring to Siri Allen. You call me killer, you mastermind the death of Moses Dopu, Azeve, John Yomi. He linked all the things talking about Siri Allen coming from the faction of the NPP that was interested in the terrible strategy that led to where he is today. He said that. And one thing that the government has started doing in Nima is to pay people who once were with Prince Johnson to come up and lambast him, undermining him. One of such person they used was the old man who spoke to Front Page Africa the other day. They call him Zokwia. Prince Johnson said Zokwia is from a region in Nima that is predominantly Gio and Kran in the Kpabi region. He said all the local government positions over there are occupied by the Gio people, thereby marginalizing the Kran. So he had recommended Zokwia for one of the commissioner positions. But then when he realized, it was brought to his attention that look, it would not be a balance in the local representation if all the Gio people occupied the position. So he withdrew a nomination and sent the different person who was a crime man. He said Zokwia took that personally, and now George Weah had given him money. He called a press conference and started to say all kinds of negative things about him. Then he said, "Boy, how can you use my student to attack the professor? I'm a professor of military science." So he was saying to the public that George Weah is using a student to attack him. He, the professor of military science, he said he taught this young man before. Okay. The next thing he said was that some of the people who were assisting pastor in his church and some of his people from Nima, the government giving them money to go there and organize program in the name of the CDC and thinking that CDC can win. He said CDC cannot win Nima. They cannot win Nima because they have disappointed the people of Nima, which for me, I think is very consistent with his message. Okay? He said George Weah had disappointed the people of Nima. So no matter what level of subversive exercise they undertake in Nima, the CDC cannot win Nima. The only thing Prince Johnson deserves for doing yesterday was to directly call the name of the president. He didn't call George Weah's name, but yes, his message was targeted towards the government. So that did change. So those who say that, oh, Prince Johnson disappointed, he followed the opposition people and this and that, maybe they were not listening well, but I encourage them to take to go on the internet and follow the message. The attack was consistent against the government. He said there's nothing that the government can do to win Nima because they disappointed the people of Nima. All the promises that George Weah made in 2017, he had not kept those promises. And he even took George Weah to Nigeria. All those things he mentioned in his sermon yesterday. How come some of our friends, they didn't get it? And they say that they made disappointed people in the opposition. I can understand why Senator Johnson didn't seek to continue the world of war yesterday, because early on Thursday morning, I encountered the president of the Council of Churches. I also saw Reverend Christopher Weah at the Capitol building, and I engaged him. He said, "Oh, we came to intervene in the situation with Senator Johnson and the president." And I said to him, I said, "Oh, you people will normally wait when things go haywire before you come to intervene. We'll laugh about it." And so, yeah, he admitted. He said, I will not attack the president personally because the Council of Churches intervened. So yes, they went to your office to intervene, and they talked to him. So I show, in keeping with his promise to them, he could not continue what he started, but his message was very consistent. Nothing changed about his message. And I don't believe at this point where President Weah has openly, attacked Senator Johnson, I don't believe at the point where the party has taken a definitive position. I don't think there's a turning point for him to go back to the government any longer. People say he's inconsistent. I'm not his follower. I have followed him very closely. I don't support him. But one thing you have to understand is that Prince Joseph has been very consistent in his political marriages. All of the people who he entered into marriage with, he always kept his side of the promise. And the reason for which he turned his back on George Weah at this point is because Mr. Weah didn't keep his side of the promise.
Thank you, Daddy.
Support you will support you, and you have let the people of Nima County down. So he's very consistent about what he's saying.
Thank you. Pastor Mo, then Pia, then we'll go to the lines.
Yeah, I think for once I was able to listen to his message live. One of the points I took from his message, where he told the Liberians that to stop judging him by his war deeds. And he's a changed man, and he's not going to do those things that he did before. He has been washed by the blood of Jesus Christ. And he also made a fun of Rodney Sear. He said, Rodney Sear, and you wrote and said, I'm a killer. And you wrote a story, and Rodney Sear laughed. But like our man Daniel said, Prince Johnson did answer the president, but he never spoke the way people expected him to have spoken. But he used a scripture to back what he was about to say. And people may want to judge Prince Johnson, saying he's not trustworthy. I think for now, I will observe him. I think he has reached the place where he can go further with Mr. Weah. But I also think Prince Johnson will respond either next week or week after next, when no one is expecting it. He's going to respond his pulpit. So the Nima people respect Prince Johnson. And most especially when he was talking about, Daniel, I really never understood it was Cyril Allen that he was talking about when he talked about the masterminding the death of the Nimbardian citizen. And little did I know he was referring to, because I didn't miss that part, he was referring to Cyril Allen. So all we can pray for is that for the best, and it means that we can use to get George Weah up democratically. Let's support that means. But one of the things I want Prince Johnson to understand is that we can forgive. We can forget. We can forgive. And what is hindering Liberia progress right now is lack of justice. People are getting away with atrocity. We're looking at the many killings in our nation. Nobody being brought to book. Nobody being arrested. Innocent lives being taken. People working for government was murdered. It is because the same people, I don't call them general, because they are not general. They are self-imposed general. The same killer that were masquerading in the street during the war, that had all the weapons, George Weah have empowered them. These same people are masquerading in Liberia. They are being paid as paid agents to kill innocent people that speak against the government. So if Prince Johnson wants us to forgive him and forget about the war days, I think he too should join us to call for the War and Economic Crime Court. Because I'll tell you all this, outside of the War and Economic Crime Court, we pray there will still be secret killing, and the people who are in power, they know these killers, they're not going to go arrest them. Because look how Yin Swan then was killed. Look how Fambutu then was killed. Look how Gifty then was murdered. Look at that little boy, Gentle, that was killed in a military barrack. And the defense minister never spoke. The chief of staff never spoke. The police director never spoke. Look at that little baby.
30 seconds, Pastor Mo.
Yeah, that was murdered. And his private parts were extracted. They never spoke. So because they want the criminal government to be protected. So they're speaking. So I think the nice government of JMB that are going to come, I stand for justice. I stand for the War and Economic Crime Code. For these people to be brought to book. And if JMB can do it, we will get on him. We will get on him.
Thank you. Thank you. Pia, so that we can go to the lines. Chupo, you'll be able to take calls, or we should just let Daniel do the calls? Wait, the way internet going, I think we'll let Daniel take the calls.
So, firstly, I think Reverend is beyond time of a lot of stuff. Prince Johnson last sermon before this one, where Sheikh Koyate worshiped with him, he reiterated his call for the establishment of a War and Economic Crime Court. So to say Prince Johnson wants just to let him join us, Prince Johnson is already going ahead. You got to join him. At least he has made it clear as an actor that he's ready for it. So that's one. Number two, unlike Daniel, then who categorically making representation for Prince Johnson that whether he will go by, he will not go by. I don't think that's a place of any of us here. That's Prince Johnson's business. I cannot put my neck on tapping, but whether Prince Johnson will go back to. Joe, you will not go back. That's a decision for him to make. And I don't think we in opposition should base whatever strategy and hope we have to win election on Prince Johnson.
No.
Then we already failed it. Whatever plans you have to contest the election, have that plan. Don't hinge it on whether Prince Johnson and Joe hope. The Nima citizens are there, they are available for everybody to go through the campaign. Have your strategy to go campaign to them. Don't depend on Prince Johnson and Joe confusion.
Exactly.
So I may not even be interested in going over what Prince Johnson must have said, why he didn't say it. Those who think Prince Johnson didn't say what he's going to say, I can only urge you to go on Martin Colley page. He did a good job. He listened and summarized everything that happened in that place. Just go there in a few seconds, you will know, and you make the determination for yourself whether Prince Johnson did what you didn't want him to do. So, and then the final thing I want to say, I think Prince Johnson proved himself to be a better person than George Weah. Because George Weah went on his pulpit or shrine and called the man killer, called him names. And then the council of churches went to him and said, because they know Prince Johnson. There are things that Prince Johnson may know about Weah that you must say no. So saying you read law, calling the man killer, days that the man will go on his altar and explode. I guess that's the reason why those council of churches people went and begged Prince Johnson to just say, yeah, you can criticize, don't be in direct response to what the president did or say what he did too. And he listened, but he listened not to insult or to say the things he knew, but he was consistent with the fact that they didn't sign an agreement because they did an assessment of the first agreement and it ain't worth it. So nothing much to say. It doesn't require Prince Johnson to tell me about what we are in his government, what they are. They've been the worst disaster in the country's history. Bronsky warned us, we didn't listen. Said the country was pregnant with an evil child, which we aborted, we didn't abort it. The evil child has since been born. It's been manifesting. The country is in trouble. Everybody's seeing it, everybody's feeling it. If you're an ordinary citizen who living in Liberia for the last 5 years, who know what you're passing through, if you're waiting for a Prince Johnson to be the one to tell you that things are not correct before you believe that things are not correct, then you get yourself to really contend with. So no further interest on our Pastor Jay and Pastor Debbie can keep fighting. I ain't got interest in the animal. Let them go.
We'll take up to the 50 mark. So we got from 25 to 50. So we could take about 25 calls, and then in 10 minutes we can wrap up. So Chupo, I'm not sure the internet is good, so we'll take calls. We'll use Daniel's phone tonight. Can you announce the number, please?
So Daniel, let's make sure we hold the callers to 1 minute, so a few persons can, a good number of persons can have the time.
Okay, boss man.
Please announce the number, Chupo.
So you can call us up on 077003 that's 01 36 67 0770 01 36 67 0770 01 36 67. And the Lone Star number, you can call us up on 0886 677 282 0886 677 282. And those in the diaspora can call us up on +1 401 688 8266.
Yeah, you go first or I go first? I got called up.
So that if that local caller go, I got call for you. If that local caller, you go.
Okay. Hello, caller.
How you doing, sir?
Yes, your name, where you call from?
Yeah, my name is Momo Khan. I'm calling from Forward.
Go ahead.
Hey, my brother, I think what happened for the conversation between Prince Johnson and Donald, the president, the former Zuma senator.
Okay.
You know, my brother, it's just the Prince Johnson, you don't depend on it. Just like you guys are saying. Prince Johnson, you don't depend 100%. But I love the way if I hear you call about the statement, you call about I don't know, I'm not checking really. Because the DC and they until the bank gave him the talk. You call about coming gave him the talk or you call about. So for me, People don't deserve to be monitor. You fire me, I fire you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. Okay. Hello.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah. How are you?
You live on the show? Please call your name. Where you call from?
Yes, I'm always calling from Chinese Fati, the coordinator for the all Liberian United for Jesus in Bomi and Kema.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to know for your topic to know on the show. I can show you as you are seeing, my brother, we are working. We are working, the all Liberian United for Jesus are working. We are working to do all we can, and we know that we have tackled most of the area of Kima. Now we have established Kima, Bomi, going all in Nimba, different countries.
Thank you.
We are waiting now for our better and what that will be done. Now we get the running mate so we can go ahead. But we know that 2023 is out here or divine prosperity.
Thank you. Thank you. I take 5 NPR.
You take three.
Okay, so I got one more. Hello, caller.
We'll keep telephone now.
Say who? Call your name? Okay, thank you.
Caller on the line from the U.S. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to speak to the situation in Liberia concerning the whole electoral process. I wish, like you were saying, Mr. Pierre, if the opposition can really be more vigilant by putting the election commission on records. For every time there is a problem, for every time they see a problem, instead of just discussing it on talk shows and what have you, let them be put on record. Let them take them to the court. We know that the courts are not okay because they support the ruling party, but the fact is that they will be on records. It will be on records that XYZ went on yesterday and the opposition spoke against it and took it to the court. Instead of just sitting and looking at everything that election commissioner is doing and everybody just think that it's okay and they're not supposed to say anything. I mean, exactly what you're saying today. It's not just supposed to be discussed here and in here. This whole thing has to do with our lives. People want to go home.
Okay.
People want to live better in Liberia. We can't continue to live like this.
Okay, so thank
the
you.
opposition have to be vigilant.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I heard you. Caller on the line, go ahead.
This is Jackson calling from Houston, Texas.
Make your point. 1 minute. 1 minute. In 1 minute.
I got a quick question today. I want to find out what is the census. Everybody accept the census result already? If everybody in opposition have accepted it, sanction what was conducted, that means the voter registration will be the same. And that means CDC is leading with the opposition 1-0. And they just about to score the second goal.
A good question.
With,
good question you just asked.
The registration.
All right.
Voter registration. One is down, more to go. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Caller on the line, go ahead quickly and I go back to Daniel. Go ahead.
My name is, anyway, I will not call my name because I serve the EFL, but there's certain information that I want to give. Concerning the statement made by the defense minister, that statement was out of order, but sometimes it's very hard to identify because we know their behavior. And when you take your army creed, they say defend against foreign enemy, domestic and foreign. I mean, defend the nation against all enemy, domestic and foreign. But it left in their preview who they're going to consider a domestic enemy. So that statement was out of order. That one I want to say for fight, because you know at the end of the day they're going to be on the side of the government and they shouldn't be making political statements. But again, you look at it, you defend either they put in politicians take over the army, like how the army was totally independent before then. It's not like that. It's now that politicians control the army.
Okay, so
my second problem here is that if a caller make a point, like before then I made a statement about Prince Johnson, which I have some fight to, but I was not allowed to defend myself. I was cut off. And then
yeah, because you see a lot of people trying to call. Listen now, listen. We can't treat people differently. We say 1 minute per caller. So if you talk more than 3 minutes, of course you expect that you'll be cut off. That's what happened.
Yeah, what I say, Mr. Pierre, you and myself live here, but what I'm saying, I have fight to pay, but I was caught up, and then the issue was discussed. I was not allowed to defend myself, but all on the same line, I'm a GMD supporter and stuff, so I don't take it against you people, but maybe I went across the line, but
yeah, because a lot of people on the line, brother. A lot of people want to take part, and we just take one person for long, and we're not doing them justice. Daniel, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Daniel.
Yeah, DJ Lomé, go ahead.
Thank you very much for your recognition. My brother Daniel and the panelists, once upon a time, you listen to the police director saying, if you want to do anything your way after John, you have to. So there's a police that have already taken fire with President Weah. And when you say all the security apparatus, all the hair comes from the trustees, and this thing will not be there. You saw one of the time when you're talking about 16, you saw one that
hold the line.
Kalasco went and took another country picture and said that was Lufa Road. He lied at the end of the day, he had to take it down. So these things are happening, but the thing that would be there for them to make us run away would not be there. And where you're saying that, like what you're saying, yes, it is true. We will stand, but the leaders, the political leaders have to stand because they will put our weight behind, they had to lead us. They will tell us this is happening, and it is true that this is the time that we talk. It was even later when we go to court tomorrow after October, they will say, oh, the people will say, oh, what's it in now? So this is the time that when we work out and we come in the whosoever want to talk, they should talk now and let all these to leave from all of the death. Because it's too much that we can with any people who is going over in the neck, not even part of the team, at the end of the day, they come from the taboo to make. So this thing was happening now, and let us come out in our numbers to say, back on, let us back on, and let it start. We all will be together. You're running on the radio station, oh, the opposition went to Prince Johnson, and Prince Johnson hit them 419.
Thank you, DJ.
Thank you very much.
Caller on the second line, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Go ahead, let me wake up from.
Good. This is Jonathan calling from Ghana. Oh, what a nice way to get on the Class B loaded. To be frank, I just called to congratulate the current principal of the Class B loaded. No other person, the Honorable Senator Luke Nkenegbe, that was alone. For this matter, all students in the Class B loaded must make sure they are on time because the principal is very strict. Senator Luke Nkenegbe, that was alone.
Thank you. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Your name and where you call from?
Let me good evening, Daniel. Let me say good evening to the panelists. This is Bobby Babu Meska, Chung from District 6 and Bikoboro. Let me appreciate you guys this afternoon, this evening for the topic on discussion. Let me firstly appreciate Pia because your Pia said it is good and it is in the interest of the opposition because we can't be sitting down in the country. The incompetent foreign president is managing us. We just sitting so proudly looking at the president of now. We are not even here for Omen Plaka, even a team that is supposed to be working on ground. And it's doing on ground work up to now. We're not here in the city. And this guy said, oh, we'll prepare and we'll go to the court. That's why it's the last one the people start testing our leg. Today, it is the same minister. And I refuse to understand that he worked in the president. He did equal pay. Today, he get the audacity to open his mouth.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby.
To spread gas and the opposition. But he will see our work. We will not be led, Daniel.
Thank you.
We will not be led. They keep on seeing us. We are prepared and we will meet there to come 2023. We are so afraid of them, not because we carry on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Call on the Losala. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. This is Mishak Yikakama calling from Nima, Ganta.
Go ahead, Mishak.
Thank you very much. One thing I want to say to all of our Liberians is we should be very prayerful while we do the physical work. We should be prayerful because we know that Mr. Weah will lose. And when he loses, he will not want to concede that because there have been a lot of people who fooled him and he thinks that he's going to win this election, but he will surely lose and people will get to know that he has not been doing that thing in a period of like years. As a result, he will want to walk in a path of Donald Trump. You see, Donald never knew that he was going to lose the American election, and when he loses the election, he was so bitter, and also today he never conceived that he lose the election. That's what will happen to President Weah. So we should pray. That's why they are bringing guns, all of those things, so that when they lose, they will say they cheat them, and they will do all sorts of things. So let's just pray and keep working very hard.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you got a call?
Call on the line, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Terry calling from Minnesota. My point is, we should not put down Prince Johnson yet. All right, this is the political season, and I see people have already concluded that Prince Johnson has swapped. Prince Johnson is a military man. All right, Prince Johnson is looking for confidence from the opposition. I think that is what we need to offer him, because the whole thing is about the card is going to be played. Because Prince Johnson is not a man in the race that's going to run. All right, and Prince Johnson has said some huge things, both internationally and all that. It depends now on the opposition with the confidence for the net for to give it the confidence so that he can fully cast his whole entire support.
Okay, so thank you. Will you go ahead?
Yeah, good evening. I'm Patrick Record from Fifth Precinct. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to you guys. To my brother Steven Johnson, I like the point that you put up. But I told you we need to talk. Yesterday again, I was in that rural area. I met with the chairman and the town chief. We had a meeting and we got it together. My only point here is for all to get put together for all to mobilize for all making our JMD to be the next president. So that's one of my major points. Please call me because people want to talk to. So I'm going to permanent man from the party.
Permanent man always on you every day you call, so please listen to him. Please,
yeah, but Pierre, you can send me a number. I don't know how to.
You better not call me on social media. You may call me from Liberia.
So call me on Facebook so later on.
Willie.
Yeah, okay, Miss Steven.
Willie.
Yeah.
The man said you must call him on social media.
Steven, does he confirm the medical request? You not get Steven.
All right, Steven, if that's true, he will not get to you when he's not confirmed. Just look for Patrick S. Willie.
Okay.
Yeah. Patrick S. Willie. Okay, Patrick, he will try to get to you.
Daniel, you got calls?
Yeah, I got a call. Hello, caller.
Yeah. How you doing, bro?
We are doing good. Your name and where you call from?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm from the city resident. I don't want you people thank you even for the point that you hit. The country that we're in, the people that we are dealing with. For me, I've been following John Weah for the time he was playing football. You can remember when we played the Mali thing where John Weah left from here when he was causing a woman on BBC. He made certain statement against Chancellor. He told Chancellor, say, I know about gun more than even you. He made that statement. From that day, I got to know that that type of man, he is not somebody to joke with. So the election, It is not time that we should sit down and close our finger and put diplomatic. And you can call back and say every boss will need bad medicine. This is the time that all the technical things need to be put together so that we can start working very hard.
Thank you.
One thing I want to tell General Zaga, I know General Zaga or working. You cannot threaten the citizens of this country. You should know that after government, you will leave and go sit down and look for different way to do. And you will become a foreign citizen. Thank you very much. May God bless you still.
Thank you. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening. Beretania, good evening to our panelists. I'm Onana Nyako Glasgow, calling from Lima, District 1, Canada to be precise.
Go ahead, Onana.
Thank you this evening. All discussions that have been made, they are updated. And as Dorothea said, no one is going to control us to say, go this way. We all are mature and we know what is going on in this country. We all know what is better for us. So we're going to make our decision for our unborn children, our children, and for ourselves comes this 2023 October, and we'll see how best for to go for our election. And what we're talking about for the election, the registration business, we got to stand firm because it is very, very limited for registration, and most of the people, they will not register for this coming election. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kola. Kola, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you raise a very serious point. The election.
Your name, and where you call from?
Anthony Mumba.
Okay, go ahead.
The election date is very short, gentlemen. We have to take decision. Everyone take decision now. If you correct, no matter if we write a code, let all write a code that the day is very short. We don't agree. Opposition agree. Just like this is time for the tell ourselves. The more we just start, the more we win. The more we will not register, the more we will not win, gentlemen. You put a very serious problem. You put a very smart. You put a very sound. The more we just start, the more we win. But the more we don't let we just start,
Thank you.
All right, let me take this caller. Caller on the line, go ahead from the US.
Hello, my name is Nelly, and I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Nelly, break your point.
Yeah, my point is going directly to Daniel because he's in Liberia on this panel tonight. What I see is that we have some no cultural difference in that Liberia, we talk more than we document and act. But one thing we should know that we are dealing with the international community. They are watching everything that is happening in Liberia. As long as we don't report it, they're not going to act. So we have to change the strategy. ALP, LP, UP, you have to have a working committee that you will start to document everything. You have to create file on this government. Everything they're doing, you're reporting, you have press conference and document it. Whether you're taking to the court, you're taking a copy to the international community. So that at the end of the day, if anything, what they're going to do, they're going to look back. If you get any complaint, they're going to look back and say, but when was the last time you brought such complaint? We are here, we are experiencing it. We got to lay our techniques in like when we come on this side, we don't like to report. And the people here are assisting. You are able to look at you, I put slap in your ear, I run and go report to the boss and say you slap me. Once I carry the report, that me they won't write because I didn't want to carry the report. That the people mentality. I'm just giving an example. You have to try to develop fast, create fast for these people and report them and have press conference on them. Some of these things will stop. That's my point.
Thank you. Call on the line from Liberia, go ahead.
How you doing?
Make your point. Call your name, make your point.
Yeah, I will not call my name, but I live in the southeastern region of Liberia.
No problem, make your point.
Which is, this is the song that the people singing around here that no matter how the Liberian people feel, they will make the election. But we the supporter of GLB, we keep quiet because we don't want to raise our life. So while you was discussing that today, the opposition need to stand out very strongly, and all will know where there's smoke, there's fire. So for our life to be safe, they need to stand out in good faith. Thank you very much.
So you're calling from the southeast?
Yes.
Are you listening to the show?
Yeah, I'm listening to the show on social media.
Oh, social media. Okay. All right. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Your name and where you call from?
Yeah, Patience M. Davis from Grand Bassa.
Go ahead, Patience.
Yeah, the situation with the voter registration that led in this is that a situation that we just need to talk on and stay back. We all have to stay in numbers, sitting in position, those who actually don't want for the government to take power towards them. We all have to stay in numbers because the statement from our political pastor, Dr. George Manuel, we are saying that you don't mind them. That has a lot of interpretations, which means you don't mind them and have captured all the sectors in the country, which means they enforce their pressure them because the level of people register, that would take strong, that more air than people with, you will see a lot of things. So we all need to stay together and organize to send net support because if there's no nothing over to conduct or towards same election, that's what he's trying to prove to us. So we all have to send to send net support. Is that everything that we are playing with to joke with?
Thank you, Patience.
Hello?
Call on the Lone Star. Your name and where you call from?
Well, good evening to you in studio. This is Paul Monyekanga, and I call from Nima Kante to be specific.
You got 1 minute, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much for the program. I will appreciate you for very much, and the strategy that we all try to put in place that it works, and that will be able to see this government come 2023 October. But one of the things that I want to advise is that we need to be united as an opposition. That's the only way we'll be able to see this election. If we all unite and become one person, all of the political parties we need to go together. Thank you very much. That's my info. Thank you.
Call on this orange line. Your name and where you call from?
Yes, Daniel. Good evening. Let me say good evening to the rest of the panelists. My name is Tito.
You got 1 minute.
Conversation from the board of school down. So I follow the discussion with interest, and let me commend all of you. I think it is time, like I know you, Daniel said, and even Pierre and the rest of the other panelists. And it is time that even we, the followers, the supporters of GNP, we now begin to, to press on to make sure that we move on in our shell and that we come outside so that the people, the international friends will know that the citizen alone does not have monopoly over violence.
Thank you, Tio.
And let you see the defense minister, the minister will be making this kind of a statement very time. So we need to set up actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Call on the MTN line. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Latif Kama, and I call from the Great Region of State Evening.
Go ahead. You got 1 minute.
Thank you. I listened to the discussion very lengthily, and let me say thanks to people here. I haven't found here when you be in government as in the secretary to the president. It's like that, like a real citizen who wants to see everything being changed. Daniel, let me say this to you frankly. You on the ground, you need to follow parties, you do the thing. Give me an example. You talk to everything, talk on the radio. It is for now going to community to mobilize parties of your church so that they can be blended at the end of the day. These things can be blended, can be action.
But every time you listen to you guys talk over the radio, oh, do this. You need to be studying communities now, communities. Yes, in that kind of center, do you feel the case? Because you teach the public idea where, you know, when you sit on the radio that they have to go and we'll discuss it with no partner will play about it. It is time that you people who are take out of some ground. That's when you start engaging community young people so they can be engaged in the process. But then you have to start talking about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Daniel, let me take this caller. Caller, go ahead.
Oh, okay. This is Kenan. I'm calling from Seattle. I just have my own training issue today. I listened to the foreign minister speaking today. I was like, okay, is the foreign minister and the president of the Republic of Liberia twins brothers? Because the two of them speak the same way. With the foreign minister having foreign delegation in the house with him, and you were there speaking local English. That really frustrated me. I was just like, why is Liberia into this situation?
You were speaking what?
Why? You were speaking like you go to local to go talk to the people.
But you didn't know how to make a talk for your main foreign minister.
That was so frustrating for me. I have never listened to him. I was like, so this guy who is
Dima is a common Buga dancer. You can't get anything.
I mean, that was my own frustration today about Liberia politics. You know, I just wanted to say that. Yeah, thank you.
All right. I'll take all kind of put your million thing that they will give it to you. Yeah, like garbage in, garbage out. Yeah, man. Daniel, take call if you have it.
Okay, I got the last part of Steve, right?
A few more calls so we can wrap up.
Yeah, last round. Just take it out.
Okay, call up. Oh. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Your name and where you call from?
My name is Haji Wedo from Kankimo country.
Crankhead, Mom?
Yeah, Kankimo country, yeah.
How you following this show?
I'm going to show tonight.
Via radio or the internet?
Radio, listen to on Kimo tonight too.
Which radio station?
No, I get my radio down.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, Joria Melody or Tutu or I want to see you because we are better of radio. You want to tell you.
Thank you. Caller, good evening. Please speak louder. Your name and where you come from. Please speak louder. Your name and where you come from. Go ahead.
Actually, what are you listening to the radio?
Are you listening to the radio? All right, go ahead.
As I was saying, I just want to ask God to know, what is unfolding in our country. Let's say
Daniel, we had it here in that column.
Yeah, we had it. We gotta speak louder. We can't even hear you.
Hello?
Please speak louder. You hear me?
Maybe your phone low. I'm not sure that the column.
I want to appreciate people for the information here and we are getting information from people on a daily basis. So as for us to get rid of
All right, thank you. Caller, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Go ahead, your name and where you call from.
James Silva calling you from Kansas City, Nimatam.
Go ahead, Mr. Sibwe, 1 minute.
Yeah, the people need to be reminded multiple negative areas have been existing to us here. The censor that we just talked about, we don't even have a country here. Then going back to another big mistake and nonsense, have the registration for the election separated in different terms. They said that is not a way that democracy for electoral process have been practiced. We will join hands with everyone of you so that we can have it done simultaneously in the country instead of going to one side to another side. It's not necessary for us.
Thank you.
Of the Constitution.
Thank you. The last caller from my end. Caller, hello? Yeah, you the last caller from my end. Your name and where you call from? If you listen to the radio, you confuse yourself. Turn off the radio and listen to the phone.
Listening to yourself behind your scene. Just take it.
Your name and where you call from?
Hello, you have to take your time too. Hello,
Hello, your name and where you call from?
I'm Archie Kavanda. I call from Airfield Sinker.
Go ahead, Archie.
Already, the issue has to do with our security apparatus right now and the kind of statement they are making. It was the issue that has to do with the chief of staff. Now, surprisingly, I just raised the issue to do with some guys with the chief minister own statement that he made the last time. And I'm so much, what PSA rather, and even the police director for addressing the law in the way that he did. There's a serious threat to our security at our elections. Other than we don't even know the level of demarcation based on the extent of the job. And there are a lot of so many issues that we can't come on right now. So we, or those in the opposition, need to stand up, be careful on what they do. Otherwise, what will happen will be the other way around. So we have to be very careful.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Caller on the line, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pierre. I'd like to thank the panelists. My name is Thomas Ashmana from Baltimore. I just want to say thanks for the job you do on the platform to inform the Liberian people as to what's going on. Secondly, we came on your platform the other day to make awareness of our program that we are identifying in Liberia for the election, which is the full washing recruitment and training, so people can be able to protect our vote when election comes in October. We just want to tell you the program we're here in Columbia, Maryland successfully, and we thank your platform so much for allowing us to be on this platform to protect our vote count. It's not only going to be for Unity Party, though we are for Unity Party, but the process is for every political party who wants to take part in the election. We are going to protect votes for everybody. So I just want to say thank you and thanks to all of those that are contributing towards that program. We have 3 segments into this program. We have done one. One is going to be done in Minnesota again in Camp Jones, and then the third one will be here in New Jersey. So we hope that we will come back on your platform to give us that opportunity again to get on that program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Even last day we can end it there.
Yeah, Daniel, are you there? Daniel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So yeah, it's been a great show. Unfortunately, most of our people have been having internet issues. They have to log off, but it's been a great show. And let me say big thanks to everybody who called on the phone for their contribution. We'd like to say a very big thank you to all of our listeners on the radio and also those following us via social media, and those, especially also those who are commenting, and appreciate your comments. We appreciate your participation on the show. Daniel, you're closing them. Yeah.
Well, as always, it's a pleasure to be here. Today's efforts was simply geared toward making Liberia a better place for all of us. You know, all of the things we say here, we didn't mean anything personal against anybody, but this is how we feel that we can contribute to making our country, our common patrimony, a better place for all. We cannot sit here as educated and well-informed intellectuals and allow our country to slap back into the abyss of chaos. So the best we can do is to flex our intellectual muscles, query the government that be the power of the day, and offer sound alternative as a way to how our country should be governed. So we look forward to continuing the conversation, the issues that we raise against the National Elections Commission, the caution to the security apparatus, and the call for the attention of our international partners to be drawn to the wake of interference by state security apparatus into the civil activities of the country. So we hope they are listening. We cannot rest. For us, there is a duty, a pleasing duty to whom we have sold to execute to the full of our responsibility. I'd like to say thank you to all those who follow us, and thank you to you, Stephen. You continue to do well to ensure that this platform is fully in effect as we move forward to the 2023 presidential and legislative election. This is going to be the biggest platform across the country because, yeah, We do not miss our voice. We say as we see it, and all we want to see is a better Liberia. So yes, thank you again. Today's presentation was not the best. We hope to make it the best the next time we meet here. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Jupo.
Yes,
it's
good. It's good actually. I mean, it's good completing the show, though the network been giving some difficulties. You know, a heavy downpour of rain was actually, I mean, going on from this side. But it's actually good completing the show of the team.
So you
look forward to joining them.
Did the station go off air?
Yeah, for some time.
The station went off.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. Thanks to the team.
So the rain subsided now?
Yeah, the rain actually subsided, but the Tottenham still actually firing.
Oh yeah, and these signals, and then your poles and your equipment can get damaged by this lightning and stuff.
So it's a great show, and thanks to the team anyway.
You're welcome.
Steve, before you go to Pierre, somebody just sent a text. Let me just read it before Pierre come in.
Sure.
Good evening to the class below the family. Okay. Good evening to the class below the family. My attention is drawn to the issue of the voter registration process. I have worked in elections since 2005-2017. In no form and manner have voter registration been done at different times. Okay, this don't make sense. Out of the law, and we must resist it now through protest. Let us protest now before the so-called process starts, please. So this person is texting, it's Chinua John. He said he's been an election worker for a very long time, and he had never seen election or voter registration be conducted in a manner
and I'm glad Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence listening to us tonight. Senator, you and Dillon, Senator Dillon, you guys need to take this matter very seriously. And some of us are going to write official letter to the Senate. We'll CC copy the U.S. Embassy and other places so that the National Election Commission will not trample upon the rights of Liberia. That nonsense about rationing voter registration, you go Nima Monday, you move on that Tuesday, you go Ganta, the Nima people finish, will not happen. That nonsense will not happen. And everybody should join this effort. We must resist it. Nowhere that nonsense happen. How do you ration? How do you say you go register people in 6 counties for 19 days? Then when they're done, you go to another 7 counties for 19 days, they're done. Then everybody sit down. If the election commission does not have the capacity to register all of the counties together, then it means that the election commission is not capable of carrying out elections. And we should all resist that. Pia, take us home.
So everything we said, I hope all the political actors are listening. It's not just about Boaka, Nyobli, anyone who calls himself opposition. It was meant for you. Look at where we are with the census, Stephen and Daniel. Everybody know the census was a mess.
And nothing about it.
The government said the census finished. Opposition saying not sleeping, saying nothing, accepting just whatever the people have brought. There's no secret that the census was a disaster, it was a failure.
Some people not counted. Majority of the people ain't counted.
Why are they comfortable with that? Why the opposition have not resisted and been calling on all the international people, including UNFPA, that is responsible for census issue or population issue and all that kind of stuff, to already reject what they call the outcome of that census. If he's accepting that, like one of the callers said, anything to do with voter registration, you accept it the same way. Then you go to the ballot and expect to win, that by magic you win. You better challenge the people now. The time you're taking to be fighting each other. I just saw Front Page Africa to next headline, which they normally distribute in advance. And it's clear that Joseph Boakai and Cummings can never form one ticket, not because the two men don't want it. The story says because of their supporters. And the quote statement from Musa Belede, who are personally attacked when he wrote that statement. These are people that I don't know what the opposition people don't see. Musa Belede is no opposition. Anytime you see any small sound of something that looks like peace to bring Boakai and coming together, you the first point and go throw wave in it. And you call him opposition man. So it's good that a paper like Front Page have seen it They've read through it, and they're not coming out to say, well, the problem is not with these two people, but their so-called followers. And they pointed out Musa Belete because it is his own statement they highlighted in the headline story. Maybe front page are getting to know. We knew this ever since. Because a man who owns the government millions cannot be an opposition to that government. That's a joke. So what are our people waiting for? There's no census result. After the election, when Waka wins the election, we'll redo that census. We're not taking that track. That data is not useful anywhere. We'll redo our census. We're not going to use census result for any voting business. We'll do the voter registration consistent with what we are. You're not going to create any new constituency because what you did was not a census. It's rubbish. So, and then let me close, Stephen. Somebody, a security personnel, sent this. You know, the class reloader is going far and wide. So when people listen, they try to give us information. This person, of course, want to be anonymous, so their name will not be called. And they send this message because they heard us discussing the arms that were brought into the country. And this is what they say. Please don't mention my name. There are many citizens who know my name. It is for my protection, for my life and the life of my family. But please be informed that the guns that were brought into the country include silencers and snappers. The intention is to shoot at political leaders during political rallies and in the event of protests after the vote rigging to shoot at people. Please do not overlook this information. JMB needs to threaten his security during the election. I work as a part of the CDC network. The guns were procured in Israel by Jefferson Koji. The Americans even have the tip-off. That is why they tried to do a smoke screen. The plan to rig the election is on course. All the opposition need to do is to begin to make demands and protests from next to minimize the chances of a rigged election. So the person sent this message to me. We didn't have to be working with the security to see these things, but just by the way the people been conducting themselves, we know that these things are what happening. The people brought guns, they said, well, over 400 guns, all of a sudden, they just start talking about their own guns. So I can't be surprised that somebody is sending us this kind of message. Like I've always said, the country is in trouble. I will regret that. It's not by opposition people accepting everything and all they're concerned about is stealing poor profile and creating fake pay, all their supporter fighting and don't want them to work together, all those kind of nonsense. They wouldn't take us anywhere. Thank you. Good show for today.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, Pierre. Let me say a big thank you to all of our listeners, all of those who participated via calls, via text messages, via comments. We'd like to appreciate you. We've come to the end of another fascinating edition of the program, The Class Reloaded. I have been your host, as always, Stephen Johnson. Thanks to Michelle Dupont all the way there in Bangabon County. Thanks to Daniel Sando, Jerolimne Matthew Pia, Pastor Mo, and of course, Larama Schenken Yonton, who had joined us earlier. We'd like to say a very big thanks to all of our supporters, those who commented. We appreciate you all, and thanks for sharing the show. You guys continue to do your best. Let's keep fighting. Liberia is the only country we have. Let's keep fighting for a better country. I'd like to say thanks to our radio station, Bourgeois Radio FM 98.1 in Monserrado, Premium FM 98.1 in Banga City, Bon County, Radio Dupa FM 89.1 in Bassa, Grand Bassa County, Voice of Lofa FM 99.3 in Vonjama City, Lofa County, Radio Joy Africa 97.5 in Makibi County, and of course, Voice of Compa FM 106.5 all the way there in Nimba County. This has been a very wonderful edition. Do join us again on Wednesday.
919 shares. Good job. Very close to the 1K.
Thank you. This has been a very, 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 very fascinating edition. Do join us again on Wednesday, same time, same station, when we'll bring you another edition of the program, The Class Recorder. On that note, we say so long. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. God bless. And let me play a song by let me see what I have this song. Praise, K Praise. You know the guy who did the song, right? Pia, for on that video I can play for Joseph Boakai. He did another song called Rescue Mission. Let me see if I can play it. Let me play that.
Everybody, rescue mission. Rescue number one. Rescue mission. Rescue number one. Look to the left hand, race to the right hand, race to the front hand, race to the back hand, jump on your feet hand, jump on your feet hand, rest. Go to the left hand, race to the right hand, race to the front hand, race to the back hand, jump on your feet hand, jump on your feet hand. Yo, 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 yo. Rescue number one, yo, yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Rescue mission, yo, yo, yo. Everybody say, Joe Boakai. Rescue number one, Joe Boakai. Rescue mission, Joe Boakai. Rescue number one, Joe Boakai. Rescue mission, Joe Boakai. Rescue number one, Joe Boakai. Yo, yo, yo. Go to the left hand, race to the right hand, race to the front hand, race to the back hand, jump on your feet hand, jump on your feet hand, rest. Go to the left hand, race to the right hand, race to the front hand, race to the back hand, jump on your feet hand, jump on your feet hand, rest. Yeah. Oh, wine, a good wine. But you wine, the bad wine, oh. Eh. Oh, wine, a good wine, oh. You will like it, but you wine, the bad wine, oh. Eh. You gotta be sensitive before you lose the taste. J&B, the fresh wine, oh. Rescue number one. Rescue mission. Rescue number one. Go to the left hand, race to the right hand, race to the front hand, race to the back hand, jump on your feet hand, jump on your feet hand, rest. Go to the left hand, race to the right hand, race to the front hand, race to the back hand, jump on your feet hand, jump on your feet hand, rest. Yo, 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 yo. Rescue number one, yo, yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Rescue mission, yo, yo, yo. Everybody say, Joe Boakai. Rescue number one, Joe Boakai. Rescue mission. Achio, achio. There is a game, and everybody's supposed to play, but everybody against one man, and that woman is homeless. A moment, yes, because he's a super player. I know. Because he's a brilliant player. That's right. All the opposition starting defense, double defense, triple defense. Hey! But Romeo Walker is not the time on those defenses. He's warming up. Babette is warming up. Check it. Yeah, he's jogging, jogging, jogging. And the crowd is cheering. Wow, the Walker. But one thing I want to tell you, Babette, the chocolate defense. Oh, Babette chocolate defense. Oh, how are you? You getting out of bed, you getting out of bed, you getting out of bed. Waka chocolate defense. You getting out of bed, you getting out of bed, you getting out of bed. Waka chocolate defense. Waka Baba. The old man very skillful. He getting cara put in the kirikara. I get confused. Don't know where to go. They didn't even see the bar. Hey, it's moving, moving, longing behind, opposite behind. Now Papa moving, and he borrow with 4 defenders, and he beat the defenders. Several defenders, and he beat the defenders. Then he kicks, and as I crawl. Hey, Chakra their defense. They put on a defense. Double defense, triple defense. Money for parents are skillful player. Hey, again gotta be, again gotta be, again gotta be. Waka Chakra the defense. Again gotta be, again gotta be, again gotta be. Waka Chakra the defense. Great people, Liberia. I want to introduce somebody to you. A man of impeccable character. He's a reconciler, developmental oriented, man of integrity, principle, knowledge with an experience. Join him, let's move this country forward. Hey, please be Joseph Waka. Hey, the president Joseph Waka, that Joseph Waka, that Joseph Waka, the president Joseph Waka. Let us join them Waka, and together we can change Liberia. Love Liberia, and we all can build Liberia. Again, gotta be, again, gotta be, again, gotta be. Waka Chakra the defense. Again, gotta be, again, gotta be, again, gotta be. Waka Chakra the defense. Again, gotta be, again, gotta be, again, gotta be. Waka Chakra the defense. Again, gotta be, again, gotta be, again, gotta be. Waka Chakra the defense.
Achio, hey, hey. Awa. Tell you that the papa will walk. What got coming, people? Papa, tell you that the papa will walk. What got coming, people? Papa, we just let's take killing bad governance to stop us that we pop up waka. Yo, let we vote for Omen Waka. Watchio, Yakao, $60 billion lost to the $5 million lost. Over change the social criminals. So for $1, not on the dollar, not on the dollar. The contract in Wahala. Tell you that the papa will walk. What got coming, people? Papa, tell you that the papa will walk. What got coming, people? Papa, my far people, my many people, my better people, let the papa out. My Mandingo people, my grand people, my damn people, let the papa out. My crew people, my bunny people, my backup people, that's what I hear. My dead people, my Gola people, my Loma people, let the papa out. That's what I own son. My Goba people, my Mana people, let the people get into it. Now we're getting my kids people now. But you know, grab Toba, Mama, I see you. Jamen Duke, Mo Ali. When I was telling you, there's a Shanking Yoton, MFP Costa, there's a Stevie Johnson, Cylinder Delon, Mara Yomli Kanga Lawrence, Mada COP. Azo.
It's Virgie. Everybody, hands up. Shout out in the air. Come on now. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
The papeles coming up. The papeles coming like a tsunami. I see him coming up. Oh, I see him coming up. The papeles coming like a hurricane. I see him coming up. Everybody shouting and screaming. Hey! Let me see you shaking it, shaking it, shaking it, shaking it, shaking it. Hey, yeah. Yeah, we're moving for Guagame. Yeah, we're moving for Guagame. On every part of the country, we're moving for Guagame. Yeah. Obama, we love you, power. Yeah. Obama, we love you, power. Everybody loves you, power. Hey, you say you can rock it. Hey, you say you can shake it. Hey, you say you can rock it. Look at you, something beautiful, you can rock it. Rock it up, rock it. Shake it up, rock it. Shake it up, rock it. Rock it, 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 rock it. The puppet is coming, everyone is shaking. The puppet is coming up. The puppet is coming like a tsunami. I see him coming up. Oh, I see him coming up. The puppet is coming like a hurricane. I see him coming up. Everybody shouting and screaming. Victory is certain and where things are going here. All my people, getting you celebrate. They want to celebrate our victory. And it's only by ignorance or wrong challenges and elephant into a battle. When the man is coming up, when the man is coming at the hub of vision. We'll see, I didn't want you, my people. Because if you cannot the best way, hurricane will carry you, the tsunami will carry you, a tornado will wipe you away. Give way, give way, give way, give way. Shaka boom boom sa. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, well. My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not know. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to all our damages. We tired with their speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why did you lie? Why did you steal? Why did you allow the citizens to beat? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask.